Hello and welcome to the AM show here on the Joy News channel. It's another Friday. By the grace of God, we've met again to put Ghana first, to talk about things that will help move Ghana forward. And that's why we gather here every day. And it's exciting to really welcome us into your homes, your offices, wherever you are. You make us part of your day, and we are grateful. It's another day where you and I would have to have a time and discuss about this country. Today on the show, we'll be having the news review as usual, and then my colleague Joseph Akable will be joining me on that segment today. We'll put a spotlight on the NDC parliamentary primaries as well, and host some parliamentary candidate of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Maxwell Lukoto of the South Tone constituency, and Dr. Titus Beyuo of the Lambusi Kani constituency are our guests on the show this morning. We'll delve into their plans as they bid to become lawmakers in the Parliament of Ghana. Also on the show, we'll talk about teens on contraceptives. What do they even consider before they do that, and why do they do that? It's Adum TV's latest documentary put together by Martha Krenzel Aqua. We'll delve into that particular one, details later on the show. Now in sports, Muftau Nabila Abdullah brings you this week's prime take. Now his guest is former Asante Kotoko player, our player, the one who gave us a lot of joy in those days. You see Al Hassan Chipsa. He'll be talking to him, delving deep into his life after football or after retiring. What has he been up to and all of that? You need to stay here to really get into the life of that fantastic player who gave us Kotoko supporters some joy, some time ago. We also look ahead into the future. So that will be it. It's a packed show. Your thoughts are welcome on the show. Just join us with your thought on our Facebook channel. Just go to Joy News and leave your comment there. We'll take it and share it with the rest of our viewers around the world. Welcome to it. My name is Samuel Kojo Braze. I do this with Benis Abubeido Lanza. We are being produced by a team led by the man Derek Echo Sam. On behalf of the team, welcome to it once again. Good morning, and thanks for making us part of your morning. AM News is up next. Welcome to the AM News. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has disclosed that first $600 million IMF fund will be used to finance government programs. This was reviewed at a joint Ghana-IMF press conference in Washington, D.C. after the IMF's approval of Ghana's $3 billion IMF deal.
But as you know, we are running a budget deficit. We are also agreeing for zero financing for that. So to continue to support the programs that we have is where the $600 million will be deployed. I think going forward, the issue of efficiency of government and efficiency of services to the people are going to be key. And therefore finding ways of ensuring that we're efficient in our deployment that we have. So that's going to be key. I think for all of us in Ghana to really internalize that there's a new era with regards to our own behavior, re-engineering, and the type of imports that we have, moving towards food security, so the importation of rice and poultry and tomatoes, etc., are brought down, and we produce those ourselves. That really will signal a new way forward that will increase the resilience and sustainability of the program.
In other news, Chief Justice Kwesi Anin-Yeboah is worried about the irregular flow of revenue from the District Assembly's Common Fund to the various assemblies within the country. Speaking at the inauguration of a courthouse at Beshi in Accra, he said the situation is making it difficult for the assemblies to support the construction of courthouses and subsequent justice delivery.
The new Beshi courthouse is sited at the Central Business District of Accra to tackle the prevailing sanitation crisis and other petty crimes. The facility has one courtroom and 5 other offices furnished with modern fittings to aid in the speedy adjudication of cases. Chief Justice Kwesi Yeboah is unhappy about the inability of the assemblies to contribute their quota to improving or constructing infrastructure to help in justice delivery.
It is our resolve to build a system of justice that assures our litigants and countrymen of efficient, timely and quality justice delivery. The provision of courthouses and accommodation for judges and magistrates is the responsibility of the MMDAs. The reality, however, is that the MMDAs are financially disabled to do so. Our plea is that within the constraints of the economy, everything should be done to ensure all districts, especially the newly created ones, get their fair share of courthouse infrastructure to guarantee the people's access to courts and justice delivery. The point can hardly be articulated that courthouses are national assets, which must be cherished, protected, and maintained appropriately for posterity. They mirror the importance a nation attaches to rule of law and good governance. It is for this reason that I urge not only the Municipal Assembly, but also our staff who will be working here to ensure the highest maintenance culture for both the facility and the equipment herein. The radar of the authorities should continually be on these facilities and its operations, so that the right thing is done at all times to prevent financial loss to the state.
Mayor of Accra, Elizabeth Saki, said her outfit will do what it can to ensure discipline within the metropolis and the region.
As we work together to make Accra the model city in Africa, all hands must be on deck to ensure that rights of individuals, most especially the marginalized groups, women and children, are upheld at all times. Let me reiterate that no matter the nature of disputes or disagreements, violence will not and should not be an option in seeking real redress. We must also use the legal and judicial process to address those challenges. I want to assure the Chief Justice and all present here that we will continue to work with key stakeholders to ensure discipline within our metropolis. We are also working with key institutions to establish a sanitation court to enable the Assembly speedily prosecute all sanitation relation offenses.
Stephen Mesa's report read to you.
Now, experts at a 2-day transformational dialogue on small-scale mining have alluded to the increasing impact of legal mining on public health and safety, calling for an urgent response from duty bearers. The Environmental Protection Agency reviewed alarming levels of mercury in the Tano River as heavy metals are found in the gills of fishes tested from the river. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko is part for the 2023 dialogue by the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani, and as for this report.
This year's UNAIR Transformational Dialogue on Small-Scale Mining opened with a call for action from the Council Chairman, Professor Kwesi Nsiah-Jabara, and Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Elvis Asare-Bediako.
Artisanal and small-scale mining in Ghana is increasingly situated with the destruction of our forests, our water bodies, and our farmlands. The Galamsey menace is so serious that the next general elections will be determined by the way and manner in which the various political parties will address the Galamsey issue in their manifestos. So, Minister, if you can break the 8, then you can warm yourself from today.
The most pressing need in Ghana is for country-level stakeholders to strengthen their human and institutional capacity to implement, monitor, and manage difficulties linked with artisanal small-scale activity.
The Environmental Protection Agency, represented by its Ahafo Regional Director, Dr. Jackson Edia Nyantechi, drew attention to the heavy metal contamination of water sources, narrowing in on some testing of samples from the Tano River.
EPA, we are also into research. I did a publication in Hundari, that was last year. I assessed the levels of heavy metals, mercury to be specific, in face samples that were taken from River Tano at the Dantano area there. I thought I was just doing something simple. But when I realized the levels of mercury in the face samples, I became so alarmed. I looked at the levels in muscle, the face muscles, the head, the gills, the eye, and the bones. The highest concentration was
Now, the Udara Basic School in Kumasi has been handed a modern science laboratory after developing an illuminated child road safety device. 6 girls from the school won the ultimate prize at the maiden edition of the Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize G-Step Challenge. The learning facility would whip up the interest of students in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics at the 4 Garrison Educational Center. There's more in this report.
After throwing the judges and audience into a rousing ovation with their innovation, the Junior 6 of Udara Basic School has paved the way for students at their school to access science learning materials. As part of their winning prize, the school received a well-established STEM laboratory from G-Step Consortium with funding from Foundation Botna. The facility is equipped with scientific apparatus, microscopes, 3D printing machine, laptop and desktop computers, and other learning and teaching aids. Founder of G-Step, Constance Ajiman, is optimistic of a practical STEM learning and teaching experience.
Having this equipment in the school means that the teachers have a lot more resource to be able to support their students, and the students are able to get much more practical hands-on learning. So rather than just learning about it theoretically, they are now able to actually touch the equipment, test the equipment, do the experiments, and that teaches them in a much more different way. But the teachers can also now show them directly what is going on. So it supports the teachers to teach more effectively, and they want that opportunity.
The illuminated child road safety device developed by the all-female group is a solar-powered device that aids school children to cross busy inner-city roads. The user-friendly device can be used by students at the basic schools in the absence of the human aid when crossing highways. Elated by the feat, Priscilla Oseitutu says the group is hoping to enhance features on the device and eventually commercialize it.
Basically, the whole device is powered by a solar panel, and attached to that we have an aluminium frame, and attached to that we have the rocket-like device, which is mainly the ICRSD, which will be detached from the panel, then will be used to cross the road. So from here, we are still researching and hoping to modify some parts of the device, and that we will see to it that the whole device is produced in a mass quantity. 4 Garrison Education Officer Lieutenant Colonel ZBV Akati says the school is anticipating collaboration with the Education Ministry to train more science facilitators at the school.
Actually, this facility will go a long way to promote STEM learning and teaching in 4 Garrison schools. We intend to collaborate with the regional office so that some of the teachers who teach science will be trained to help other students here to improve on their science teaching and learning. It will not be limited to the Udara Basic alone. All schools under 4 Garrison Education Center will benefit from this facility.
The G-Step Challenge aims at encouraging and supporting junior high school students as well as teachers to acquire practical skills relevant for providing societal solutions. For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Now, about 3 million Ghanaians depend on the ocean to survive. According to figures from the Ghana Statistical Service, the fishery sector contributed 2.5 and 2.3% of Ghana's GDP in 2009 and 2010 respectively. But that has fallen significantly since 2011, with fisheries only accounting for 1.1% of Ghana's GDP in 2016, and there are fears the situation will further worsen. To mitigate this trend, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture is set to introduce a no-fishing zone policy starting from part of the Western region. There is more in the following report.
The depleting fish stock in Ghana's waters has become a source of worry for the country for some time now. Government introduced the closed season as a means to help reduce the rate at which the country's fish stock is dwindling. To enhance the efforts, government is set to introduce the no-fishing zone policy soon. A director at the ministry, Doris Yabua, believes the policy will curb the rate of depletion. She has been speaking at the media launch of the National Blue Economy Summit.
Marine protected areas, there are areas that have rules of no take fish. You can't take anything from there. Those areas are protected so that the marine life there will rejuvenate and go back into the system. Understand it. So you declare an area that this area can't do anything there, and then you wait for the fish to grow, and when they grow, they will just replenish the stock of the ocean. That is, yeah. So it's a standard tool, it's a standard measure. That's it's done in many countries, and we are now starting. We have done some studies, and our studies have fallen on the Western region. The first two will be done in the Western region.
The National Blue Economy Summit is organized under the auspices of the Office of the Advisory Unit and their partners, the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, the UNDP and others. The summit is aimed at raising local and national awareness on the need to protect the ocean, mobilize collective action for the ocean, and also to share ideas on best practices. Dr. Eugene Owusu is a special advisor to the President on the SDGs.
The ocean is at risk. It's certainly not new. It didn't start yesterday. It indeed has been a gradual process. But as I said in my statement, this is a global problem, and it's a global phenomenon. And because no individual country can deal with the challenges of the ocean. That is why we have the high-level panel on the ocean economy that has 17 heads of states and government championing action on the ocean when it comes to effective protection, sustainable production, and equitable prosperity. The reason we are having this summit is that a lot has been achieved in terms of global advocacy. But where the rubber hits the road has to be in local action. So we want to localize the ocean conversation. And we are using the National Blue Economy Summit as the beginning of a process to localize the ocean conversation. But it is going to be more than a conversation. It's going to be about identifying concrete actions, concrete transformational actions that can help us deal with the challenges to ocean health, and that can also help us really maximize the opportunities that the ocean presents for us as a country.
The resident representative of the United Nations Development Programme, Angela Lusigi, reiterated the importance for the ocean to be protected and the need to involve the locals living along the coast.
One of the things that we realize is that 3 million Ghanaians depend for their lives and livelihoods on the oceans. And this goes beyond food. It goes to business, it goes to the communities that live next to the ocean. But we also know that the health of our oceans is at risk. And a lot of this is coming from pollution, which is something that we can manage. A lot of this is also coming from climate change, which is as a result of our activities also as human beings. So our interest in supporting this summit is that we now understand what the risks are what the problems and challenges are, but this is a time to come together to look for sustainable solutions. So as the communities are at risk, they have a central role to play in protecting our oceans. So this goes to how we manage our waste, and this also goes into sustainable fishing practices, for instance. But we have to help the communities to thrive. So this conference will bring together government partners, private sector partners, and it will also bring together academics and think tanks to move from just plans to actions. How can we sustainably move forward? And one of the areas that is the biggest menace, as we see right now, is plastic pollution. So we want to speak to all our consumers of plastics, to manage how they consume plastics and how they dispose of plastics. But we also have to support the people who collect our waste and the people who recycle these plastics. They need support to be able to grow their businesses and to be able to effectively manage our waste and recycle. But we also need to work with our producers who are already looking for alternatives to plastic.
The summit, scheduled for the 31st of May to the 1st of June, will be held on the theme, Our Oceans Health, Our Prosperity, Our Planet Security.
Now, bird experts and enthusiasts are worried about the alarming decline of Ghana's migratory bird population. The loss of wetlands and vital habitat for these birds have been cited as a major contributory factor to this worrisome trend. Michael Ashley has more in the following report.
A pied kingfisher sits comfortably on the branch. It is a captivating bird known for its distinctive black and white plumage and impressive fishing skills. Its distinctive rattling call and graceful flight make it a beloved sight for bird watchers and nature enthusiasts in Ghana. And so it was for bird watchers who participated in this year's Global Big Day event.
It's not breeding, the color, the bill is still yellow or pink. And the juvenile has a black bill.
With binoculars in hand and in the company of ornithologist David Damani, they embarked on an adventure of discovery, unlocking the secrets of Ghana's winged wonders, one feathered marvel at a time.
See, this is the northern red bishop. Yeah. This is the fire crown, it used to be called fire crown.
The yellow-crowned bishop is a striking bird with its vibrant yellow crown and intricate black plumage. In the colorful tapestry of bishop birds, the black-winged red bishop emerges as a fiery masterpiece. Its ebony wings and crimson plumage painting a vibrant portrait of avian brilliance. Like a vision from an artist's brush, the western reef heron graces the wetlands with its ethereal presence, adorned in a cloak of slate gray plumage that embodies elegance and tranquility. Perched gracefully on the ground, the collared pratinco exudes an air of serenity, embracing its surroundings with a relaxed demeanor that invites admiration for its poise and beauty. The loss of wetlands, the once cherished homes to countless migratory birds, poses a grave concern as these vital habitats diminish, threatening the vibrant melodies and survival of these winged travelers. Joseph Afrifa is with the Ghana Wildlife Society.
There are a lot of benefits we get from every species on Earth. So, and there's that thing we call the food chain and food cycle. So somebody feeds on somebody, somebody feeds on somebody. So the snake feeds on the frog feeds on probably other things, and then that cycle goes on. The birds feed on the snake, somebody feeds on the bird, and that. So if you take one thing out of the equation, that means you've distorted the balance. So the numbers going down means that the ecosystem functioning is being tempered with.
For participants, their hearts were filled with gratitude.
I like this. I mean, I've studied birds a little.
Okay.
I never took the pain to actually look at the details of what the names were, the features, and today I got to learn. So I believe that if I follow through with the monthly bird watching, I'll be a good and an experienced watcher here.
From the resplendent colors of the bishops to the majestic flight of kingfishers, bird walking shows the magnificence and fragility of Ghana's feathered inhabitants. Until we meet again, happy birding. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
In other stories, if you intend traveling to the United Arab Emirates to see greener pastures, Ghana's ambassador to the UAE is urging you to reconsider your decision. According to His Excellency Ahmed Ramadan, it is not as rosy as people portray it to be when it comes to working in that part of the world. He said this in an exclusive interview with Jackson Osei Ntiamwa at his official residence in Abu Dhabi.
No, I will tell them that, it is not as rosy as they see. I tell you, it is not as green as the green green pastures that they are looking out for. Honestly, yes, there are some opportunities that you can run into to get a job. Yes, but you spend as much as you earn. Even when you are here and you earn some small money, what an average Ghanaian does is that when he receives any money outside, he converts it in his mind what it would be like in Ghana. Yeah, that's right. So, I've gotten this, and back home it would have been 10,000 or 20,000. But you spend that money here, not in Ghana, and it is really not very easy. Not very easy at all. But if one can get a decent job back home, I think it is better home than being outside. It's better home than being outside.
So the simple advice is what?
The simple advice is that, well, if you get the opportunity to be employed here and you want to come, fine, you can come. But otherwise, don't just rush because you think there is a job that you can, place your hands on. Make sure that you get it before you leave home and come here.
And that's how we wrap up today's bulletin. There's much more news on myjoyonline.com. Up next is the news review. Stay with us. All right, so welcome to the news review segment of the show. And guess what, today? But again, let me remind you that this is brought to us by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're doing free screening and fertility screening as well. So get around all their branches, any one which is close to you, and ensure that you are screened for free. You can find one in Takrade at the Anaje Estate, Spintex, and then in Kumasi as well as in Sunyai. So ensure that you pass by and get screened. But today I am going to do this. Usually it's me and Ben, but today I'm doing this with my Nzima brother, Joseph Akable. Midiema, Kodio. Better.
Okay.
Good. Some of you don't know Akable can speak in Nzima, but today,
I do my best under the circumstances.
No, but that's really good. Because you in Nzimas have done really well. Because irrespective of where you are, you try to still speak your language.
Yeah.
So I think that we'll have to give it to you.
I don't have much of an excuse. I'm 100% in Nzima. Like 100%. Yeah, my dad in Nzima, my mom in Nzima. So, unfortunately, though it wasn't the medium of communication mainly, and because of school, moving around and stuff, and just having a chance to visit my hometown once in a while, I'm not as fluent as I would want to be, but the understanding is like perfect.
It's there, yeah. But it's good. I mean, for us as hunters, in the past we were just hiding. So you meet someone who's very influential, but he doesn't speak it, so you don't know he's a hunter. It's just recently that we have said that no, we cannot continue on that path.
Yeah.
So we are trying to speak it to our children. Maybe we'll catch up with you in Zemes, but you have taken the lead, and So maybe we'll say good morning to your uncles.
Yeah, my Nzima people from Ekwe, Elembele constituency. I'm sure they are watching.
Your hometown is Ekwe, eh?
Yes. In the Elembele constituency.
Okay. Now that place is beautiful. I mean, the Nzema area is beautiful.
Yeah, and you know, it's because of the Ghana gas and all those things that is happening. And Ekwe, particularly within the constituency, is quite very developed if you compare to the other areas. There.
I think that's where you have that hospital.
Yes, the hospital, yes.
Yeah,
that's the
very popular hospital.
You know the place well.
Oh, no, I mean. Anyway, so I have with me the Daily Graphic newspaper. And I have the Daily Statesman as well. What do you have?
I have the Daily Guide and the Finder newspaper.
Okay, so that's what we'll be doing. But this morning, we've heard there's a new development in the Anas case. I mean, you've been following. The judgment was that he will show his face to the parties in the chamber of the judge. Yeah. But we're hearing something different now.
Yes, and so Tiger Eye Private Investigations, that is the investigative company that we know belongs to Anas, they've issued a statement this morning indicating that Anas has declined the offer, so he's not going to testify anymore because they say that the conditions that have been fixed by the court endangers him. They explained that this particular case, the key witness in it should have been Ahmed Hussein Swale. We know Ahmed Swale did the number 12 investigations. Okay. He was the key guy who was interacting with the various individuals who were caught on tape. And Ahmed Swale was killed, and so they said that once he died, in fact, they said at the time of his death, he had been engaging the Aegis officials preparing to testify in court. So when he was killed, then Anas opted to testify in his stead on condition that his identity will be protected. And so as it stands now, they make the point that the current conditions that have been fixed, it will mean that Kwesi Nyantakyi and his lawyers will have the opportunity to see his face.
Okay.
And they don't think that conforms to the agreement that he reached with the Attorney General's office. So under that circumstances, they said that he is an undercover journalist. His identity is what keeps him safe. And if that is exposed to anyone, it puts him under such risk. And so under the circumstances, he's not going to testify anymore.
But what does that mean? Because when the judge gave the judge that is a directive, can you go against it? Can you decide not to accept it?
I mean, it's a ruling of the court on a request made by the Attorney General. Okay. So he is the Attorney General's witness. So what that means going forward is that the AG would have to take a position or decide on the matter. So they have to decide, are we going to compel him to come and testify because they can issue a subpoena to compel him to come and testify. In which case you risk, if he comes, he may not be a witness that will cooperate with you. You come in as a hostile witness. He may not, when you ask him the questions, he may not give you the answers that will help your case. So that is one option. The other option is that they may decide that, okay, look, this matter, you are the one who have gone to do your investigation, you brought it. If you are not going to help us, then we are not going to prosecute it at all. Then there's the final option of having someone else, maybe a police investigator who has also investigated this matter based on the evidence that was given to also come and testify. But the challenge that presents is that you risk the lawyers for Kwesi Nyantakyi raising objections about hearsay. I mean, if the investigator is tendering something, they'll say that this is not something that you uttered or this is not something that you took yourself. So authenticity issue, among others, then the court would have to be ruling on all those objections, whether those matters will be sent in. In fact, I've tried to reach out to the AG's office following that statement, and what we understand is that it will have to be a decision that is taken at the highest level of the department, i.e. the minister would have to direct them, the prosecutors handling this case, on the way forward, because as it stands now, I mean, they would have to take a decision before the next date, which is in June, if I remember correctly. And at that day, they are supposed to produce a witness to testify. It doesn't necessarily have to be Anas, but Anas was supposed to be the first witness. So that's what they have to decide now.
But aside Anas, do they have other witnesses? Do we know?
Yes, we know that they have other witnesses. There are police investigators who are also scheduled to testify in this particular matter.
Interesting. Well, so that's the latest twist to that particular issue here. Let's start off with the Daily Graphic. It says debt restructuring. Nation seeks $10.5 billion in savings. Government optimistic of fruitful engagement, citing Oforiata. Now, adhere strictly to IMF target, to economists, to government, and rice importation will cease, according to Josh Spawn. Okay, so now on the nation seeking 10.5 billion, it says the government is targeting an external debt relief of 10.5 billion between this year and 2026 as it engages its external creditors for debt restructuring. The International Monetary Fund has reported. The external creditors include bilateral and commercial creditors. The government announced a suspension of debt service on external commercial obligation on December 19 last year and has since been engaging with them on a debt restructuring. The government is seeking to restructure external commercial debt of $14 billion, out of which $13 billion are in bonds. Following the formation of the creditor committee of the Paris Club backed by China, the government is also expected to begin debt restructuring negotiations with its bilateral creditors in the coming days in a bid to restructure debt of about $5.4 billion. At a press conference yesterday by the IMF in the United States capital, Washington, D.C., the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, said the government was looking forward to a fruitful engagement with its bilateral and private creditors in the days ahead as the country worked towards achieving debt sustainability that would anchor economic stability.
I mean, some good news there. We are told that the $600 million will hit the account today, according to the governor of the Bank of Ghana. So, I mean, we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, but again, people are worried about the usage of those revenues. Government has explained that this $600 million will be used to sponsor a government project. Question is, what particular project? Because we're looking at projects that may probably earn some revenues in the long term. For example, if you push it into road and that road is probably towed, it could bring in revenue in the near future. If we put it in social interventions, we may not see the benefit now. Yesterday, I spoke to a lawyer who said that he supports government investment into social investment, like social project like school feeding programs, free senior high school. You won't see the benefit now, but in the long run, you would have human resource that would otherwise, but for these projects, might not have been developed to the level they will. So I don't know what government project this government wants to invest the $600 million in, but we may probably need more details to understand what they want to invest into.
In fact, there's this the document that was released by the IMF. There's a part of it that talks about, it gives a sense of the conditions, and the IMF expects government to limit expenditure, and they are asking for a reprioritization of capital projects. So that is the road and those things that you are talking, you made reference to. And so we know that even though government says they are going to use the money to support the government projects, we know that there's a limit on that of sorts. They can't do all the capital projects that they want to do. Again, the finance minister has said in that press conference yesterday that we have a deficit. So the budget we are running on currently, in simple terms, we don't have our revenue meeting what we intend to spend on. So this will also just provide that cover to give us space in order to do some of the things that we would want to do. But yes, I agree with you that it obviously means, like the IMF is suggesting, that we need to decide which ones are the priority ones, because we can't just be acting as business as usual in these circumstances.
Now, all the routes that were probably, stopped might resume, but of course, which of them? And the ones that are being sponsored with the Sino-Hydro, probably after negotiation with China, might resume, and then we will see some works being done. Let's look at the rice importation to cease, and that's by Jospon who is saying this. Why is he saying that? Now, he says that the chairman of the Jospon Group of Companies, Dr. Joseph Sianwe Japan, has vowed that with the advent of the Jospon Group Rice Project, the importation of rice into the country will be minimized, if not stopped. That, he said, was because wherever the Jospon Group of Companies detected a problem, it was always ready to confront and solve it. Quote, where we see a problem, we confront and solve it. And with this project that we have begun, the importation of rice must stop, he said. Now, Dr. Japan said this at a two-day Food Security Conference 2023 held at Gomoa Fete in the Central Region and organized by the JGC in collaboration with the Asian African Consortium and the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. It was on the theme Enhancing Food Security, the Role of Ghanaian Scientists, and brought together scientists, researchers, government officials, and other stakeholders in the rice and agricultural industry. Well, we've always had this idea of import substitution. One of them, which was rice, we began some time ago. We're making some progress, but here comes this man who says that, look, and we've all been reading about the sort of steps that he's taking. Looking at what he's done until this point, what confidence must we have that indeed this is probably the time which could lead us to end the importation of rice or reduce it to the barest minimum?
I mean, I think there ought to be some government action. I mean, he's a businessman. The best we can expect from him is that the product that he'll be putting on the market will be of the quality that will be good enough. But we know from experience of other nations like Nigeria, I have been to Ethiopia, Rwanda, Botswana. Look, their rice doesn't taste
as good as ours.
I mean, unfortunately, I have to say that. Sorry if they are watching. I mean, it doesn't taste as good as the largely imported rice that we consume in Ghana. But that is what they consume. And these are high-end hotels.
So it means that you won't taste foreign rice there.
I mean, what I ate, it doesn't taste like the foreign rice that we are used to, that we eat here. It's not of that quality. And a lot of the interaction with the staff at the restaurants, these are high-end hotels, 5-star, 4-star hotels. They make the point that this is what they are supposed to acquire. I mean, so everywhere we've seen that rice revolution take place, there's some sort of government.
So deliberate policies by government.
Yes. I mean, the starting point, food buffer stock, they buy food. Why are they buying imported rice, the buffer stock, for senior high schools? We should get to the level where the government takes a decision that all government purchases, we have to buy the local rice. So, I mean, if there are companies that are under 1D1F that are into rice production, we serve as a market for them. So they just send those rice to the schools. You can imagine.
There are, unfortunately, you know, I'm a player in the rice value chain. One of the factories I work for is a 1D1F factory. But they are not selling to buffer stock because, as usual, they sell to buffer stock and it will take them years to pay. And this is a young company. You need a revolving fund. So you cannot get your fund stuck with government for all those money. So one thing government can do then is that for these companies, buffer stock, if you buy, pay.
Yes.
You know, so that they will have,
because the ones they import, they don't buy them in that kind of manner. In fact, there are instances, the reason why sometimes we have the food shortages is simply because they've not purchased the rice and sent them. You know, so we should be able to be deliberate about wanting to assist our local companies through such measures. Because, I mean, look, Mr. Sianwe Japan can set up his business, and there are people, like you are saying, there are companies that are doing the rice. But when there's no market for them, because if you can imagine if they are eating the local rice in the high school, I mean, people can say, oh, it's not nice, what. Over time, the next generation of us, they will be used to that kind of rice. Because when I ate the rice in Rwanda and Ethiopia, this is not rice that if I have the rice, imported rice in Ghana here, I will definitely eat the Ghanaian one. But I didn't have any choice, so I ate it. And that's the point that we should get to. Because it is how we are going to survive. I mean, we've unfortunately acquired such things. The other option too is to make it very expensive for the rice,
imported rice.
So that if you decide that you want to eat the imported rice because of the acquired taste, then we are going to get a lot of money from you. So that it makes up for the deficit of not being able to support the local production that we are supposed to get.
There's also another thing we need to solve. That's the production deficit. Because sometimes, look, it's been so many months since I supplied one of my products because we're not getting it. So with Mr. Sianwe's involvement and probably from government's participation, we should find out how we can bridge the gap between these production, lapses, such that we'll have continuous production all throughout. And it's about mechanizing our farms. We don't mechanize farms in this country. We rely on rainfall, and that's why, rice requires a lot of water. So how are we ensuring that our rice farms have access to water? That's why the one village, one dam policy was a good one, but implementation has been so bad, such that those up north who really, their weather is not like us in the south. In the north, there is a long period of dryness. So they would have needed these dams to work. But where are they? So government has to be very, strategic and very aggressive when it comes to the rice sector, such that even if we are not mechanizing the agricultural sector in general, as for the rice sector, we should find ways of making water available to them all throughout. So that throughout the year, we can have local rice. Because look, the rice I used to supply, it is delicious. When you
I mean, I purchased some from you. I mean, all those I've given some to eat. No one has come to me to say that this one tastes differently. They just eat it and move on. I mean, until I say that, that this is made in Ghana, then they're like, oh, really? So it's not all of the local rice that really do not taste as we want them.
Delicious. But the thing is that we are not able to produce it all year round. Again, the banks too sometimes would have to have specialized arrangement for these farmers. You remember the Nigerian boom, which was led by a Ghanaian, Abraham Odum. He explains that when he went there, he told the central bank that, look, you cannot give farmers loans at the same interest like commercial entities.
Yeah.
So you have to have a specialized facility for them. And that's why the central bank came on board in the case of Nigeria to say that, okay, we'll give them this loan with these sort of conditions, which was different. So they give the farmers the room to then produce and come. That's why Nigeria had that boom last year that we're all celebrating.
Yeah.
What is our plan really? Because we do talk about it and then you don't see any strategy to help the farmers.
Yeah.
The guys that I used to work with complained that the sort of heat that the banks brought on them. So we should find a way to really, end this production lapses that we do find. This guy, this MP, what's his name? Isn't Kando? He's also doing some fantastic work in this rice thing. Oh. So we should, and his rice is also really good. So we should find a way of probably bringing all of these guys together. Really have a roundtable discussion to understand the real challenges. Yeah. Water is really huge. Yeah. How are we working to break that one? We should. And work at financing as well. Because when we work, when we deal with the accessibility of water and then proper financing, which will then give room to these guys to produce and produce well. Look, what we can do in this country. And it creates a lot of jobs. Yeah. Look, when I supply, at least even if I make 1 cedi on a 5 kg bag, and I supply, say, 100,000 in a month, how much am I making? I'm making 100,000 Ghana cedis in a month, me, a young guy like me. But that's what you do.
Yeah.
So when you do that, the rice farmer produces, like someone like Mr. Essenya Japan, packages the rice so well. And then me, supplier, I go for it and distribute all over Western region. And I make my cut. Yeah. And that's how you build billionaires.
Yeah.
It's a strategy that the Chinas and some countries have used.
We have to connect industry
exactly
their needs and help them to be able to survive.
So if this works so well that I'm able to supply 100,000 5 kgs in a month, in a year, how much am I making? Yeah. I'm making so much money. Yeah. And you see, I also create jobs because then I'll need more hands to supply the rice to all over Western region. So you would see the spiral effect.
Yeah.
You create a lot of jobs. Yeah. So really, we did one district, one factory. It wasn't really connected so well. We should connect it. Yeah. One district, one factory to one buffer stock to 1D, one dam. There should be a synergy between them. But it looks like we don't have. That's also a problem. Synergy between governmental policies. We don't have it. So it's a whole discussion that we need to have, really. If we want to develop the agricultural sector in this country, we should have a proper discussion. It's not the disjointed workshops and seminars we do have. We should have synergy between policies. I don't see that. No. Like you just explained here, there should be a way that buffer stock will be buying from these 1D, 1Fs. How do we have it? There should be a synergy between the policy that is guiding the one village, one dam. We should be aggressive, but this country, it looks like we are too good in drafting policies and keeping them on shelves and not really implementation bit of it. So really, let's see how we can move this forward. But it's interesting. We hope that Mr. Essenya Japan will really achieve his aim because it looks like he is coming on board as a very big player and the sort of jobs that could be created from this. Let's end this with the daily graphic. Let's move on.
Let me quickly do the Daily Guide and I find that the front page of the Daily Guide has that IMF story about IMF being proud to partner Ghana. And Bawumia campaign heats up. It has a photograph of the vehicles that has, the vehicles actually have Bawumia written on them with his photograph. Nana receives Guinea-Bissau State Award. Man 40 molest girl 10. Very sad news there. The Economic and Organized Crime Office is chasing SIM fraudsters. The story is in the Daily Guide, and the back page has some sports stories. Ancelotti denies losing Real job, and City can now visualize a treble. It's a story that I have to read because of Echo producer Echo. Yeah, Pep Guardiola says his Manchester City players can visualize the treble after trashing Real Madrid to reach the Champions League final. They'll be playing against Manchester United, I think, in the FA Cup.
Yes, FA Cup final. Yeah, and that's why we are saying that We are the only ones left now.
Oh, you also support Manchester?
Oh, yeah. True and true.
That's unfortunate.
We are the only... why is it unfortunate?
You're not a good team. You're not a good team,
which team do you support?
I support the Spanish champions, Barcelona. I declared Spanish champions a couple of days back, I think on Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, we are the champions of Spain. Are you the champions of England?
The referee aided.
No, are you the champions of
No, I'm hold on.
No, if you,
I am
are you the champion?
I am the 20 times champion of the
Are you okay? In the last 5 years, have you been champions of England?
Oh yeah, I've won. I think I won the committee.
You won the Premier League in the last 5 years.
Don't worry. I mean,
no, it's a yes or no.
What is yes or no here?
As in yes or no to the question of whether you've won the Premier League in the last 5 years.
I almost won it last year. I almost won it 2 seasons ago. I was second.
Yeah. So
and then I beat City to it in the FA Cup in the last. So
that is the state of affairs for Manchester United.
No, it's not a state of affairs.
Unlike
we are still the most valued club, at least in England. Yeah. In the world, we are second after Real Madrid.
Your neighbors across the city are in the Champions League final. In the last 6 years, they've won, I think, 4 out of the 6. They'll win a record 5th, actually. They are going to win it.
And that's their record.
In fact, they have the chance.
No, hold on. That's their record. 5th.
No, I mean...
We have 20.
No, you see, I mean, if you are, assuming you are someone who is in you are in your early teenage years, now, you know what you'll be saying will be history to that person.
Oh, no. 2013. Our last was just 2013. It's how many years?
Yeah, but if you're
10 years ago.
If you are 13 years old, how old were you when they...
oh, no, forget it. He doesn't even know a lot about football. I mean, look, and we will end... In fact, but you know, this can fall through. This dream of getting a treble.
Yeah, of course.
It can break.
Totally.
Yeah, because when Manchester United stop them, and I know Inter Milan will stop them, then they are only left with Premier. Even that, if something happens and then they lose
this weekend, they pick it.
That's the thing.
Chelsea, yeah.
So Chelsea would have to do, and Chelsea has become one useless team. But if useless in quote, because now they're not doing well. You can't even trust them to beat anybody.
In fact, they just won one match recently. Yeah. They've been losing consistently.
So if they really want to be useful, they really want to be useful to the football fraternity.
The only help they can do is to stop Manchester City.
Exactly. Yeah. So they should stop City. Yeah. And then we all pray that Arsenal. At least we have to help Arsenal.
You know, this is the thinking that the smaller teams have. You not win the league. You not do your own thing to win the league. Then against supporters, we ain't share with them. That's what you had.
But you know, we beat Barcelona.
Yes, so you knocked us out of.
Yeah, so it means that we are not a smaller team at all. Yeah, but we only want to help Arsenal to win a league. It's been so many years since they won. You know, someone like Fred. Sometimes when you see him, you pity him. So at least they should have some joy. You know, even though they blew it all up by themselves, but we can still help them. So Chelsea can beat City this weekend. The other matches they can lose, and then if Arsenal can win, because if Arsenal, when City lose and Arsenal also lose, that means that City, even though they are losing, will still win the league.
Unfortunately, Arsenal is playing this weekend before City. City will be playing on Sunday. So someone was actually drawing my attention that if Arsenal drop points, City will even win the league before they even play the last game.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I hope that Arsenal wins. Just that Arsenal, you cannot trust them. Yeah. They are not a trustworthy team. But let's see how it goes. But the thing is that Manchester, for us, we believe that we can stop City. We can win the FA Cup from them. And then they can go ahead and win a double. Because as for the treble, the only team in England that can do it and will remain in history to have done it is Manchester United. The only team under the best ever manager Britain has ever produced. Sir Alexander Ferguson. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's how it's going to be. Anyway, let me do the Daily Statesman now. Now, when we said Chelsea, okay, no, I won't say. I heard some shout for the Chelsea. I know one of
in the back room are interested in
one of our sound guys is a Chelsea fan, but I pity him. We should forgive us.
Turn off your microphone.
He cannot. The thing is that his team has become one beans of a sort. Everybody trashes it, and we have an understanding with them. Yeah. So they should be ready. They should come with backs. Anyway. Daily Statesman, 600 million IMF money hits BOG coffers today. Let's see what becomes of it. In team rally support for Yawenim in Kumewu by-election, Nigeria's PDP urges African leaders to boycott Tinubu's inauguration. That story is also really generating some heat there. Stool Land Administrator equips officers to optimize revenue mobilization. Local government to be petitioned over funds for Achemansa district. Okay, now let's look at the Kumewu by-election and the PDP one. Now, you know, PDP, our own colleague, Blessed Soga, is in the country covering that particular election petition for us. Yeah. Now, it says African leaders have been advised by Nigeria's major opposition party, People's Democratic Party, PDP, to abstain from the country's impending inauguration ceremony, which will see President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu take the oath of office. Speaking exclusively to a Daily Statement, the spokesperson for the PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar Otumba Segun Showumi. Nigerians have some fantastic names. Sweet names. Heavy names. Yeah, listen to this. Otumba Segun. So they pronounce, I think they pronounce Shegun, right? So Otumba Segun Showumi. It said it is time African leaders put aside their familiarity among themselves and not partake in what he described as an embarrassing democratic heist. We would advise a lot of African countries to reconsider attending this upcoming inaugural ceremony. They will be invariably lending themselves to a very embarrassing democratic heist. Our recommendation is that African leaders must show more than a passing interest in using their attitude, conduct, and utterances. One of the things they could do is to boycott inauguration, not because they want to be involved in our issue, but because they want the court to adjudicate, unquote, he said. Do you think it's something African leaders... Okay, what do you think the attitude of leaders should be to this particular inauguration?
It's a tricky situation, but I mean, anyone who has studied a bit of public international law will tell you that, I mean, generally state recognition. I mean, there's the state of Nigeria that we know it to be. The state of Nigeria is installing a president. I mean, so the state of Ghana recognizes the state of Nigeria. So there's nothing wrong with Ghana attending that particular ceremony. That's what's happened in the, if you remember, the Kufuor attending the inauguration of John Mahama, the first one, because of the election petition that had been filed by the NPP. You know, the party members tried to stop him from attending.
Exactly.
Kufuor
because
said,
they stayed away.
Yeah, and Kufuor said, no, he's a statesman. He has elevated beyond partisan considerations. And so it's a state event. So he ought to attend. I don't find anything wrong with African leaders attending it. It's a dispute. I mean, there's no elections anywhere in the world that people, the losers don't allege that it has been rigged one way or the other. There's no single election. In the US, Trump said the thing has been stolen. Right here in Ghana, John Mahama said the same thing and go to court. But the thing is that when you go through the legal process, we all stand by and watch. In the event the court upholds the argument and declares that the man was not validly elected, the person who has to be installed, or if there's to be fresh election, the person who wins, the other states that attended the event will still recognize that person as the president. So it doesn't really change anything in the scheme of things to warrant the kind of demands they are making of the African leaders who may want to attend this particular ceremony.
Like it happened in Kenya. It went to court, but there was an inauguration. People attended. In Ghana, in 2013, we were in court, but there was an inauguration. And even in 2020, they were in court, but there was an inauguration. So, that's it. Now, okay, I think we've spoken about the IMF issue. The national chairman of the MPP, Stephen Team, has urged the people of Kumewu not to vote for any other candidate in the upcoming by-election except the party's candidate, NST Yawenim. Mr. Team, who is currently in the Kumewu constituency, made a call as part of his campaign for the MPP candidate ahead of the by-election slated for May 23, 2023. So that's like next Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I'm sure by now the development project taking place in Kumewu.
I think we should be checking on that. By now they are pouring quota on
When I was in the Western region, there was one in Amenfi West. You know, there was one MP called Jetia, and he passed. Yes, I think that's Amenfi West. At midnight, they were asphalting roads.
Yeah, the same thing happened at Ayawaso West.
And I was like, wow. Then we should have a lot of by-elections. No, MP should not wait till they die.
Yes.
They themselves should think about their constituency to say that, projects. Okay, I'm stepping down. Because when you step down, there'll be by-election. And then the project that you couldn't do in your tenure will then be done for your constituency. You are the hero. Yeah. So I think constituents should probably avert our minds to this. That MP, step down, let them have a by-election. We'll give that credit to you that during your time, this project came because you stepped down, you know. Because really, government will wait till there's a by-election before they go ahead to do a developmental project. But let's see how this election goes. Yeah, let's wrap it all up with the final.
The final, yes, the front page. Parliament to petition local government on behalf of Achimansa district and 25 police regions to offer criminal clearance services and journey to rebuild economy augmented $604 million from IMF to hit BOG accounts today. LEAP school feeding others strengthened. And former Upper East MPP chairman rally support for Dr. Beyuo is also on the front page of the Finder. I think that will be that. I mean, we've virtually looked at most of the stories here. So I think that will be all for the papers from me.
Okay. Anyway, just that the Beyuo campaign is heating up.
Yes.
Now they say they call something "It is possible."
Yes.
I think that's the slogan that
and they are using. I've seen a symbol of it, like
may connect it.
Yeah. Wi-Fi taps. So like connected. Okay, we have heard them.
But he hasn't declared.
He will soon. I think the party is supposed to open nomination sometime next week. So we expect that. I mean, obviously, once they open, he would have to formally make that declaration.
But it's serious. So being a vice president and still campaigning, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
I mean, we see the presidents do it when they are seeking re-election. So I guess just that, I mean, in this particular instance, he's the vice and the economic situation that we find ourselves in and all those things. It's a whole lot. But I'm sure he's done all that permutation and analysis and decided that, I mean, it is possible.
Yeah, like they say, it is possible. So let's see how they go. But that will be a really interesting contest within the MPP. I don't see them having more than 5 people to run. So are we sure we might have that super delegate conference?
I mean, I actually
because for now we have
maybe more than 5 because there's Joe Gate, Kwabene Japan,
2.
There's Kennedy Japan.
3.
Yes, there's Beyuo.
There's Alan, and then there's Ada 6, and then the former energy minister.
Wache Jako.
So 7. That's why.
And others that we may not be aware. Maybe we would have the. But me, if I have to decide for the party, I like one-time voting.
Yeah.
Like we vote and nobody know who they win. Then, it wins.
Gone.
Because the danger is that when they do the first one, and
this person is
in the lead.
Says I'm in the lead already. Yeah. So give me.
Exactly. Then there's also the danger that if there's a runoff, the party may feel like, okay, when we voted, everyone was leaning towards Brace, so let's just vote for Brace. It's the second one always influences the initial one. Yeah. So it's very dangerous. That is how come I personally I'm always for the one time. 2 years when we announce, then you see that this person has won. Then we'll go to sleep quietly.
Interesting. Let's see how that plays out, but we wish them all the best. Like the NDC did in the Agbana case. They said, well, he led by 1, isn't it? It's not his fault, so let's give it to him. And then they give it to him. Yeah, that's it for the news review segment. Grateful to you, my brother Joseph Akable. Office that's it. All right, so thanks to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic for supporting us to bring you the news review. We're grateful to them. But now it's time for us to bring you sports. And Muftar Nabila has been sitting down with Yusuf Al-Hassan Chipsa. So we can say he's a legend of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. To sit down with him to understand what he's been doing after football. Enjoy this.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, my brother.
How you doing?
Not bad at all. How are you?
I'm also good. How is everything about life?
Alhamdulillah. We appreciate life and we are very grateful to Almighty Allah for how far He has brought us. We are not doing bad at all.
I remember having a conversation with your younger brother, Faisal, and he was telling me that growing up wasn't an easy one.
Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't at all. From the point of view that we wanted to do what we love most, what we had passion for, which is football. And our parents also wanted us to focus on the education. Yeah. So it was a conflict. We were expected to manage the two, marry them. And thank God we were able to do it, but it wasn't easy, to be honest.
So how would you describe your...
It wasn't easy with Tara. It got to a time, I mean, you go play football, come back home, you'll be beaten. I mean, my mom was more or less like a school teacher.
Yeah.
Sometimes she welcome you home nicely. She wouldn't show you a sign of her anger.
Yeah.
She'll give you food. Then at midnight, she'll wake you up. Then she wake you up.
Yeah.
Oh, him for now, call. Me casa born no jaibo. Jaibo don't go school. So she whip you. Actually, in the middle of the night. Yes. She does that because nobody will be there to rescue you. Sometimes during the day, the neighbors will be there to sympathize with you and to plead on your behalf. So sometimes she does it in the midnight. There's nobody there to help you.
How did you cope?
It was tough. It was tough. I mean, some would say we were stubborn at that time.
Yeah.
Yes, but in a way too, I think it was the passion that we had for the sport, the love that we had for the sport. We couldn't control it. It was inward. I mean, you just couldn't afford losing to go play football when it's time to play football. So most times we try to do our duties on time, just so you could get enough time to go play football. Sometimes you had no fault. You've done your choice all right. But then for the fact that you've been warned not to go play football and you go play football, you have to be punished. But it toughened us. It made us tough. I mean, we went through proper training, to be honest, and we always say a very big thank you to our parents. Yesterday was Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Myself and Faisal were there in their house to spend the day with our mom and dad. Our two siblings are not here. They are out of town. So we represented the rest.
Yeah, the rest of the family.
Yeah, we went to spend time with mom and to have a little bit of talk about the past and the present and all that. I mean, it was nice. It's really nice.
Did you ask her the way you were?
We do.
Where football
Yeah. We do sometimes. As I was imagining, come on in your day.
That's quite an interesting one. But what your roots? What are your roots? Where did you come from, and your growth up? Where did you grow up, and all that?
Okay, so we are Mosi by tribe.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad is Mosi, my mom is Mosi, but my dad's father is Mosi. His mother is Asante.
Oh, okay.
From Otafo, Kumasi.
Oh, okay.
She was
Mosi.
Yes.
So I'm speaking to my slave.
Yeah. In a way.
I'm having a conversation with my slave.
Yeah. And my mom too the same. My mom's father is also Mosi. The mom is Asante from the district, Mansu district.
Oh, okay.
Mansu Mem. That's where she came from.
Oh, okay.
So we are, let's say, half
no, you're Mosi. You're completely
Mosi and half Asante. Yeah. So I was born in Kumasi. Faisal was born in Accra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was born at Old Tafu, Kumasi. My dad used to work with state transport.
Oh, okay.
So he was transferred to Accra when I think I was around 4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So Faisal and our last born, they were born in Accra. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they are Accra Pikins.
Yeah, they are Ganyobi. They are Ganyobi. So we had our elementary education. I started from Kumasi, but then majority of it was in Accra.
Oh, okay.
From the Teshin primary school, and then we left to Help Your Child Preparatory School. It was one of the best private schools at Teshin at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So from there I went to Teshin and West State GSS, and then to Prempeh College, to Kumasi Polytechnic, and then to now.
And then to now. Do you speak Moshi?
No. No. But I understand a little bit, and it has always been a very big setback for me. I remember when we went to Burkina for the U20 AFCON.
Oh, okay.
And you know, our family name is Sawadogo.
Oh, okay.
Like if you mention Sawadogo, people know exactly where we come from. So one person saw that, and we went to buy meat. Me, Sule Muntari, Derek Boatin, and Razak Ibrahim. Yeah. We went to buy meat. We used to have this silly competition. Who is good at chopping meat? So myself, Sule Muntari, Derek sometimes, and Razak Ibrahim. But Sule was the best.
Sule,
he loves meat.
He would beat all of you to that competition.
He really proved that he's Hausa man. He's Baoshi. He's Baoshi. So one guy tried to speak to me in Mosi, and I told him I don't understand Mosi. But I grab one or two words. Yeah. But it's not too late for me. I want to learn. Yeah.
Because you're learning almost all the time. You are reading books and all that, so you can learn the Mosi too. I just said Yahoto. You didn't understand.
I understand Yahoto. I understand Yahoto.
I can't speak Mosi myself. I'm a Mampusi, so So having a conversation with my sleep. So
you see, this I won't talk.
You won't talk.
Getting to the end of our program, I have a word for you.
What is that word? Say it now.
I have a friend. He's called Idrisu. He's now based in UK. He used to be the circle chairman of Mamobi.
Okay.
He's also Mampusi.
Okay.
But for the sake of vice president, I just want to relax.
See,
I don't want to say much.
The history between Moses and Mampusis, you know it very well.
Yes, I know.
So, do you admit
that
you are the slaves of Mampusis? Do you admit?
No, I don't.
Tell me, Yusuf, sorry about that. Yusuf, tell me pretty quick. Where did you start your footballing career?
It started, I think, I'll say in Kumasi, but I was young.
Oh, okay.
I say in Kumasi because when we were moving from Kumasi to Accra, my mom and my dad told me that I had a ball in my hand.
Okay.
When we were on the bus with state transport. Even though I was sleeping, I was dozing off, I never let the ball off. I held it all the way from Kumasi to Accra. You know, so but then I realized the potential when we were in Accra. From elementary school, primary school, I was made the captain of the school team at Help a Child Refugee School. When I came to Teshinungwa State JSS, I was made a captain. Prempeh College, I was made a captain.
You've always been a captain.
Kumasi Polytechnic, I was made a captain. And so I think I realized that potential seriously in Accra. And those were the days where my mom also was insisting that we should go to school. My mom and dad. My dad, because he was working with state transport, he was an international driver, so mostly he used to fly the route of Burkina, Ivory Coast, and Mali. So most times he's not at home. So the tough times were with mom.
He would definitely leave an instruction. You thought it was mom who was doing it, but no.
But when he's home too, I remember there was one time that I got the canes from him. And I can't forget that day. No, he doesn't like to beat children, but when he does, he's merciless.
So, but how were you able to combine hiding to play football and education? Psychologically, how difficult was that?
It was difficult because I was brilliant at school, and I think it was the most reason why my parents wanted me to focus on that. I was very good at school, right from the primary school to JSS to SS. I remember when I completed JSS, my dad's senior brother who was working with UN, I did 11 subjects, I had 11 ones. Wow. I did 12 subjects, I had 11 ones.
11 ones?
Yes, and I had 2 in French. So
you speak French?
A little bit. Basics.
Very necessary.
Yeah.
So far you can communicate with it. You're good to go. Yeah.
And moreover, because of what I do now, we've been traveling a lot, so you get to catch 1 or 2 languages here and there. I understand a little bit of Portuguese, though I don't speak. I understand a little bit of French. I understand Swedish. I speak Swedish. and English is normal. So as I was saying, it wasn't easy because it got to a time, especially when I got to the tertiary level, when I was at Kumasi Polytechnic reading HND accountancy. Then fortunately for me, I was invited to the national team where I had to go to camp at Winneba, stay in camp from Monday to Friday, and then you'll be released to join your clubs for the league games at the end of the week. So virtually I was losing lectures from Monday to Friday almost every week. So sometimes my junior brother helps me out. He was at Prempeh College then. He gets the handouts, we do photocopies, send them to me, sometimes bring it to me at Winneba in cases where we don't get opportunity to come back home during the week. My roommate was doing the same course with me, so I was fortunate for that. Timon Ebucho is now one of the government auditors. I think he's in charge of Northern Region also. Yeah, so it was tough. It was really tough because it's not easy combining education at that level and with football. And you remember at that time too, you've not yet cemented your position. You are still justifying. Week in, week out, players come, and week in, week out, players are dropped. So you need to focus and make sure that you deliver on the pitch, and at the same time you have quizzes to be doing. So it wasn't easy. At a point when players are sleeping or they're supposed to rest, I'll wake up and be reading. I remember one time Joe Louis told me that, Master, I had no school. Then he would just put it in a jovial way. Then they will just understand because they need to sleep. So I need to put off the light and then go to the common room downstairs at Winneba, stay there and read. I mean, those times, Coach Didi Dramani was a student at Winneba, and he was one of the guys who were encouraging us. Coach Afrani, may his soul rest in peace. Coach Afrani played an important role in my career. Why? Because before the team left to Ethiopia, that batch of U20, which I was part, I was a member. Afrani was supposed to take me to Ethiopia. Then I was supposed to do my final exams too at Poly. So I decided to defer the program just so I could go to Ethiopia for the U20 Chan. And Afrani told me no. And I should just pray for the team. We are going to qualify from Ethiopia and go to Argentina. When he comes back, he will invite me back. So had it not been Afrani, I might have deferred my program, and who knows, maybe I might not be able to as we speak. And who even know what would have happened when you go to Ethiopia? As we speak, I have a deferred master's program whilst I was playing football in Sweden. Oh wow! And I'm yet to complete. You have to go and complete it. We leave that one. No, you have to go and complete it. We leave that one. Your mom is watching. No, because maybe it's because I've diverted a little bit. I'm more into sports now. Recently, I completed the master's program in international sports law, because I've developed the interest in that field more. But with the accounting and finance, we'll go back to it.
So when you were in Sweden, you were still in school?
Yeah, I actually furthered my education in school. I did some courses before undertaking the master's program. FIFPro, the Players Union, they used to have this online education. So I had that with the University College of Nordsjælland in Denmark. We did tourism and hospitality management. I did that. And I did few courses with sports management worldwide in the US. It's also online. I did scouting with them. I did football administration or sports administration with them. I did two courses with them while still playing football. So, I mean, I had started that when I was here. So it wasn't that much difficult.
Your life has been full of education.
And I will still continue to study.
To learn. So talk to me. At what point would you say was the breakthrough from your mom insisting that, Yusuf, you need to be in school, don't play football? When did you get that breakthrough?
I got that breakthrough when I went to secondary school.
Okay.
Yeah, when I went to Prempeh College. Then I was far from home. And then I think...
Were you a boarding student?
Yes, I was.
Okay, no wonder.
I was a boarding student. So the first years, it was me, Edward Osu and Son, who were able to make it into the first team. We went to meet the last batch of the old system.
Oh, okay.
So it was the last batch of the Form 5s and the lower 6.
What year was this?
It was in 2004.
Okay.
Yeah, 2004. So we went to meet the last batch of
the Form 5.
No, not 2004. 1994.
1994.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the last batch of the old system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Bonoso and I myself were the only first years who made it into the school team. So from there, Udman was already playing for Kumasi Corners, babies, a coast scheme.
Okay.
And before I left to school, I was also playing for a coast team here in Accra, Daily Stars. So Edmond introduced me to...
But that one you were hiding to play? The one in the ground you were hiding
Yeah. Even the Munchendi, we were all hiding to play. Sometimes they would come and beg my mom. You know, my mom was a trader, so we used to help her trade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we used to help her. Even when I was in secondary school, I was still trading with my mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was selling foodstuffs and all these things.
So you go to the market with her to sell and all that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're doing that. So sometimes, in order to be able for her to allow me to go play football, when I go, I sell quickly, come get another stuff, go sell them quickly, and then for the day or for the week.
So what kind of food stuff was she selling?
Plantain, yam, tomatoes.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
those stuff.
Yeah.
So you put them
staple
in more
foods
of a plate for you to go around and sell?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Carry on my head and go. And I used to have some schoolmates who used to laugh at me when I sell. And those people, I used to go to their houses for their parents to buy for me. You know.
I see.
I used to go to their houses for their parents to buy for me. I wasn't shy of what I was doing because at a point I was making some money.
Yeah.
Because my mom used to give me the stuffs at a discounted price.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that I could
That's
buy.
a motivation for you too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is why I wasn't shy. I mean, I wasn't shy at all. I learned how to trade even at that age. So last I said it was a proper training.
Yeah.
It was a proper training for us.
And then from the school to where?
So when I went to Prempeh College, Edmond was playing for Corners.
Yeah.
And he did mention me to the coach.
Okay.
Who also saw me, he liked me. So he came to Accra to see my coach team, Daily Stars, and then got my card from them, got my release.
Oh, okay.
So I had to play my final 2 years of under-17 with Corners Babies in Kumasi.
Oh, okay.
And from there, Alhaji Guza saw me. And then from coast football straight to Premier League.
Premier League.
Yeah, with Kim Faisal.
How did you get to Kotoko?
Me going to Kotoko was, Kotoko, it's a traditional club. They had their traditions and values. Those days, or during our days, you can only play for Kotoko when you've excelled or you've really established yourself in the local league. Either with any of the
let's say the feeder teams of Heart of Oak and Kotoko.
Exactly. Not only the feeder teams, because both clubs were snatching players from each other. But all that I'm trying to say is, Kotoko were going in for players that have
a certain pedigree,
announced their presence, the players that have established themselves in the league.
Within the league.
Because it is a club that always wants to win. Kotoko wants to win. They are like the Milan clubs, AC and Inter Milan. They always want to win. Those were the days where they were playing with matured players. Yeah, things are changing. So I had played for Kim Faisal for 3 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah, and that is how come Kotoko showed interest in me. Like I said, Kotoko were poaching players from other clubs, players that have succeeded, players that have made it, have made success with other clubs. Just as they poached Stephen Odro from RTU, Aziz Ansah from Olympus, Franco Sef from King Faisal, Nana India from King Faisal, Nana Frimpong from King Faisal, Nana India from Ash Gold, Godfrey Lebois from Beyuo. You know, so every player that was at Kotoko at that time had already made a mark from another club. You know, so it's like putting stars together to form a formidable team. So when we came, I mean, that year, we almost went unbeaten. It was out of Lions who beat us.
Yeah.
But when we went to their own grounds. And we won the league after 10 years when Kotoko have not.
That was under Abdulrazak, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Under Coach Razak. So that is how come I ended up at Kotoko. I mean, that was those days. To come to Kotoko, you should excel in your club, and then House of Kotoko. Before I came to Kotoko, House of Folk wanted me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They actually transported me from Kumasi to Accra.
Did you take their money?
No, I never took their money. And there is one story I'll say. I'll just exclude names because some are in higher positions now.
Yeah.
But I just want to say this as an advice to the current players. Recently, we've been hearing stories, issues about betting and bribery and all that. These issues, especially bribery, has been there since before us and at our time and now. But you see, one thing with the bribery is, if you are not self-disciplined, you might think you are enriching yourself or your pocket, but it is going to cost you dearly. I know playmates that have suffered, their career suffered because of bribery allegations. When I was at King Faisal, we had a game against House of Folk. Then there was a rumor that some players have been bribed. So Alhaji Guza, one of the best administrators in our football, forget about his educational background. If Alhaji had had higher education, trust me, he would have been one of the best administrators because the man was intelligent, highly intelligent. You know what Alhaji did? Alhaji called one of the players. I'm not going to mention names. He called one of the players. Those days it was this stationary phone booth.
Yeah.
He called him, went with him to the phone booth, and called an official of House of Folk. Alhaji told him, "Kachire ni say sikano unyebi. Sikano omwachama players no. Unyebi." So this player told the official that, "Boss, Matisse say ni na sikano minyebi o. Osi o hunwe asumesi hu eh." Voilà. Alhaji Guza say,
"Voilà,
me a mafia chairman." Me man can't just say me a mafia chairman. Before that, I was with the U20. They had approached me in Kumasi. I said no to them. They followed me to Winneba. I said no to them. They came again to Winneba. I said no to them. Then I reported the case to Coach Eduse, who was our national team coach.
Which people were chasing you that way? Is it a football club?
Yes. I reported them to
officials of which club?
I won't tell you the club. I won't tell you the club. I reported them to
our national... Is a club in the Ghana Premier League?
Ghana Premier League.
Okay.
I reported them to the national team coach. Then I called Alhaji and told Alhaji that this is what is happening. And Alhaji said, "One day come again, take the money and give it to Coach Eduse, or bring it to me when you come to come." Then I said, "Alhaji, but if I take the money, in their minds, they will think that I've accepted."
You've been bought.
I've accepted their bribe.
Their bribe.
He said, "No, as soon as you take the money, I am going to call them and tell them that the money that they brought to you, it has been given to me." I said, "Okay." So lo and behold, they came again. That was a day before we were going to break. It was Thursday. We usually go on break on Friday.
Oh, okay.
So we join our clubs. By Saturday you are there. Sunday is the game. So the money was in the polythene bag. I don't know how much it is because I never opened it. I took the money, gave it to Coach Eduse. showed it to him. Then I called Alaji, told Alaji. So Alaji called the chairman of the club, and he said, the money that you sent to my player in Winneba, I've been informed, I have the money with me. So don't ever think that the player is going to do what you asked him to do. So they called me. They said, but why did you do this? We told you. I said, yes, I did that because I've told you a couple of times, number of times, that I am not going to accept this. Because as we speak now, if Asofok wants me, or if Kotoko wants me, or if Ash Gold wants me, any of these clubs I will go to. So if I take bribe from any of these clubs, do you think they will look for my services? They will never. They will never do it.
Do you still recall the official who gave you the money?
Yes, I know all of them, and they are all alive. I know all of them. I just don't want to mention names. As I
so
said.
The rumors within our game of football that there's indeed bribery.
Let me finish my story. That same club, at the end of that season, they came chasing me. After the whole incident, do you think if I had taken the money and played to their games or rules, do you think they would have come for me? They wouldn't have even made an attempt to come for me. But they came up, and I went to Kotoko. I chose where I wanted to play. So this, this is our own interview, but I'm sure some players will be watching. And from the office of the PFAG, we've been advising players on these issues. It seems day in, day out, we hear stories about betting, bribery, allegations here and there, here and there, here and there. But of course, if you are not a thief, and somebody says you are a thief, why should you go and steal? To vindicate the person.
So I'm sure if the person, or the people you are referring to, if you watch this interview, they will know is that the story you're sharing.
100%. They know themselves. You understand? So the upcoming players should be very, very careful. Any official, any club official who approaches you with a bribe doesn't like you. He wants your downfall. He doesn't want you to succeed. That same person will never ever bring you to his club. Never. Forget.
Because
so
what it means is that if someone approaches you, you can deliberately lose for his team too.
Of course. But if I've been able to patronize you, where is the guarantee that somebody cannot patronize you when you are playing for me? It's your character. And that game, that particular game I'm speaking about, those of our mates who were compromised, their careers went finish. Their careers were dead.
I'll have to speak to Alaji Griza on this.
Alaji Griza came to the camp Saturday night. He came with Quran, he came with Bible. And he asked everybody to swear. And some refused.
Griza brought the Quran and the Bible and asked them to swear.
When you're a Christian, you swear with the Bible. When you're a Muslim, you swear with the Quran. Some didn't even raise their hand. He said, oh, yeah, there are one player, JB Dankwa. Say, JB, Christian woman unsa, Muslim woman unsa. We are there. We so boost we are doing. JB Dankwa.
That's quite an interesting one.
You see, so Muftau, it's painful when you hear that. You can see a beautiful career. A talent. But due to one or two accusations, career has gone waste. But you allowed it. You gave yourself, or you gave them the opportunity to ruin your career. If you had stayed firm, how much was I making in Kinfaisal? 5 cedis a month.
But those days was some good money.
Yeah, but even that wasn't the motivation. The motivation for me was a coast player getting the opportunity to play in the Premier League.
And you were even passionate about the game.
That was all. That was the joy. That was the joy. Week in, week out, you see yourself in daily graphic graphic sports here and there. People are mentioning. That was the joy. You see,
you wake up a year and then you see chiefs out on radio.
The money wasn't an issue. Maybe we were childish or we were young at that time, but that was the fact. We were not much about the money. Now, of course, I ain't the amount. Of course, you don't get nothing. And from coast football, you went straight to Premier League, and you are getting 5 cedis a month. Now that I bet you pay, no. You need jama. You see, but things have changed.
Yeah.
This, I'm not saying clubs should not be paying players, or they should take advantage of this and say that this is my personal motivation.
And even those days, stories have changed.
We had players at that time who were senior players who were taking more than that.
Yeah.
You know, so you need to set goals and objectives for yourself from where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you are not the same as the other person.
But within Kotoko, you never heard anything about bribery and all that?
No. I mean, how can you bribe a Kotoko player?
Kotoko? Huge. A big club, like the Real Madrid of Ghana.
How can you bribe a Kotoko player? It's impossible.
Okay.
Can you imagine, I was earning 5 cedis at King Faisal. I went to Kotoko and they were giving me 100 cedis. 1 million at that time.
What?
I was like,
Ogboro.
The boss is in town.
Did you call your mother to tell your mother that I'm taking 1 million Ghana?
The Nigerian will tell you. Those times, 1 million or 100 Ghana today was...
Yes, it was massive.
Was really
big money.
Really good money.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
That's a sign-on fee. And, I mean, we don't even ask for the salaries. Because the gift we were getting from the fans, from the supporters.
Yeah, people actually say this.
Unbelievable. Look, when we come to camp, yeah, we go to camp on Friday or maybe Saturday. Before you go back to camp, because we are used to, everybody comes with a big bag. Maybe you have just 2 pair of boots, your shin pads, and a toilet bag. Yeah. But a big one, because Circle 9 will come with Lucozade. Circle 20 will come with Milo. Circle 5 will come with energy drinks. Before you go home, it's like you've gone to the supermarket to shop. Your bag is full with provisions and... As for calling cards, the MTN scratch card,
yeah,
and the Fanokwa. And the Fanokwa.
Wow.
Trust me. They were just coming in just like that. And because we were winning.
Yeah.
And therefore, if we go into a game, first half, and there is no goal, when we come back to the dressing room, we challenge ourselves. But if you get a goal and you miss it, you will pay us our bonus. Yes? Joe Henrich introduced that thing.
Who?
Joe Henrich, our captain.
Joe Henrich, okay.
Yes. He and Ayindua, they used to challenge each other. Ayindua, hey, I say, them ball no, any bonus, and I'm making bonus or who. Then Ayindua also tell him they also my share, I'm making bonus or who. So it got to a time, whoever lets us down, you pay. In a way, you pay.
This is a way of motivating the group, right?
Yet Miko half time. The coaches will not even talk. Because, yeah, among ourselves, you know, we know what we've been getting. We know what we get from the fans when we win games. And so we can't afford to lose those monies that we were getting. Chastela. For 18 la, banana sikano. Ya mwa ne de gu one atinitini mu ne akambo ne akenkan ne ache. It got to a time we were not going to the 18 anymore. We go to the corporate bodies. Your custom Bank of Ghana, your ECG. Your 3 offices are your pump. Your pump for the day, your coffee alcohol rest.
Really?
Yes. Me, I went to Roman Hill to go buy carpet for my room.
Yeah.
Or the chair me. Woolen carpet. Pa. For free. Or that's why I do 2 care mama.
You got to go to water?
Yes. So you see, this is how sweet Kotoko was. or how sweet Kotoko can be.
Wow.
Because all they needed was wind.
Just wind?
Yes. All they needed was wind.
Welcome back to the AM show. Grateful that you're still here with us, wherever you're watching us from. Good morning, and thanks for making us part of your morning. Well, so let's talk politics. Let's talk NDC. I've been joined in the studio by two, now you can call them parliamentary candidate of the NDC. Surveyor Maxwell Lukuto, he is parliamentary candidate for the Southern constituency. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
I'm doing well.
Okay.
After a long, stressful campaigning,
yeah.
We are back and I'm feeling better.
Okay. Maxwell Lukuto won by polling 597 votes as against his, the incumbent MP. Hey, so you pushed away an incumbent MP?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did.
Kobe Mensah Woyome, who polled 562 votes, whereas the third contender, Vivian Akpla-Beglo, had just 4 votes each. Anyway, I also have here with me the former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Titus Beyuo. He won the Lambusie, right? It's Lambusie constituency. Yes. By some 446 votes, defeating his biggest contender, Edward Derry. Edward Derry used to be an MP in the 7th Parliament.
Exactly.
Okay, but he lost.
MP for 2 terms.
Okay, and lost it in the 8th Parliament contest.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he came again.
Yes.
And you defeated him.
With the help of everybody else. It wasn't an easy feat, but I just give God the glory. I think the team that I had and our message did the trick.
Okay.
Yeah.
But everybody was surprised when you announced that you were stepping down to contest as an NDC parliamentary aspirant.
Yeah.
Because really nobody had the slightest. Okay, I don't know, but majority of us didn't have the slightest hint that you would be one, a politician.
Yes, exactly.
And 2, to even be an NDC.
Yes. So I think it just tells one story. That irrespective of political inclination, people can still carry out their business in a very discreet manner, in a very professional manner. In my previous life, I was a union leader and I spoke for the Medical Association. I spoke what the doctors wanted me to say, and it didn't matter which government was in power. I spoke truth to authority. And so, in fact, when I even decided to step down, there were people in NDC who said, is this man really part of us? You know? So you can imagine the party members, how much more you in the media. My friends in the media did not expect it at all. No. Yes, but it's an ambition I had nursed for some time. Worked in that constituency and the district for a considerable length of time. And I've been calculating and checking the timing. And I thought the timing was
right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're more like the Kojo Pongkrom of the NDC. When Kojo was also on his job, nobody could give the slightest hint that he belonged to one side.
Incidentally, we are very good friends.
Oh.
And we went to the same secondary school.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I was his school prefect. He was my assistant.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we had a very heated contest.
Oh.
For school prefect position in Pope John.
Wow.
Yes. And I beat him to it. Good morning, Kojo.
Oh.
And he's still a very good friend.
So it means that you went to the same school as my producer, because Eko is also a Pojoba.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
You know.
Yes.
Wow. Then it will be an interesting reconnection when you meet in Parliament then.
Yeah.
Because a school prefect with his assistants, it will be interesting the kind of debate that you guys
He is there already, but I'll be counting on the benevolence and of my people in Lambuse. And I'm hopeful that they will give me the chance and to get to Parliament.
But aren't you an MP already? Because in your regions, for some parties, when you win as a PC, automatically, some way, you are already an MP.
I'm confident I'll get to Parliament, but I'm not yet.
Okay.
Because our current MP is from the other side.
Oh, okay.
We have a certain MP who is from NPP.
The NPP.
But I'm very confident that we'll take back that seat.
Okay.
But my confidence lies in the support of my people.
Okay.
They called me to come home and say,
okay.
And I've responded to the call.
Okay.
The delegates have done the needful by giving me the nod and presenting me to the general population. And I'm very hopeful that they would also respond equally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maxwell Lukoto, this is your third time, right?
Fourth time.
Oh, fourth time.
Contest.
So you did God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. It still didn't work for you. And then you combined all the three into one.
Yeah, this time is a 4x4. My nickname on the campaign trail was and is still 4x4.
Oh, okay.
And so I contested for the fourth time.
Mm-hmm.
I picked number 4. I'll be the fourth MP of South Tongue in the Fourth Republic.
Oh.
So once I said that, people shouted 4x4. And so
then it's gone.
my name also.
Wow.
Yeah,
so 4x4 did the magic for you?
Yeah, 4x4 did the magic for me. The 4x4 is a very strong car.
Okay.
It goes through the sand, it goes through the mud, it goes anywhere and everywhere. So at least I went everywhere.
Oh.
And by the grace of God, I'll be able to pull through.
Yeah, interesting. So what really did the magic for you?
Consistency.
Okay.
My ability to carry along a lot more of my people. I've been contesting, and anytime I contest, I increase in the votes, and the vote margin of the MP keep decreasing. After every contest, I draw a lot more from the MP to add to my numbers.
Okay.
Because I'm an open-minded person. I'm not vindictive, and so I have an open arm to welcome anybody and everybody to my camp and to my team. And so we went on and on and on. The last time we contested, I lost by 73 votes out of almost 1,200. And so I knew that once I give another shot at it, I would definitely overtake. And that's exactly what did it. And I'm so grateful to my team. I'm grateful to my traditional leaders of all the 5 traditional areas, Agaves, Okwetefle, Ume, and Fievie. I'm grateful to all the former MPs, all the former DCs, my team members especially, very wonderful young men. And they were on fire. And I'm grateful to the delegates. I'm grateful to all the women and all the youth, everybody who did the magic. I'm also grateful to all my other aspirants.
Okay.
Stephen Fenuku, Jonathan Adusu, Vivian Peglo, and also the incumbent, Kobina Mensah Oyoma. Honorable, I am so grateful to all of them for this contest because we did it in all love. The contest was so smooth. There wasn't issues. At the end of the day, everybody took it in good strides, and we are happy. And so I'm grateful to everybody.
Your colleague in North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Blakwa, is doing an incredible work that even some of us who are not part of those constituencies are like, no, our MP should look at it. You are coming from the South. What's that big plan or agenda that you also have for your constituency?
The blueprints are there, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
He carries everybody along. He works with everybody. I am a kind of person, I told you I contested on 3 different occasions already. But there are people who I personally know do not belong to my camp, but I give to them anything they demand from me at any time without complaint. I intend to bring everybody on board. So Sunday after church service, I went round to the MP's home to say hi to him. Unfortunately, I didn't meet him. I went to former MPs, former DCs, all those that matter in the constituency. The other aspirants called. 2 of them came to my home. We sat. We had a good chat and laugh.
You ate at plane with Fetridechi?
Fetridechi. So I am not vindictive. I wish to bring everybody to the round table for us to go on develop the constituency together. It's the development of the constituency that is my heartbeat. It's not my personal glory to become an honorable or the MP or whatever. It's about what we can put together to develop the constituency. Sami is for the people. He does everything and anything for the people. And he's concerned about the needs of the people. And so every day he's fighting for the people. And that's what I intend to do. You realize that when we lost an assembly member about 3 years ago, I was leading the charge, and I carried everybody along. What we needed, we got it. That's the kind of person I wish to be. I want to speak for my people. I want to represent my people. I want to meet the needs of my people. I want to be there for them. And so I will emulate the example of Sami. And so I intend to just carry everybody along. I won't rule with all that is in me alone. I want to bring everybody on board. I have a 10-point agenda in my flyer that I use for the campaign. Unity is part of it, carrying along people, meeting them every year to collect ideas from them and move on with it, to carry them along, go to places and make sure we harness resources for the constituency. There are several other things we need to do together. That's why I believe so much in teamwork, and my team has been so phenomenal. We sit at a table and we take a decision. If we have to vote on it, we vote on it. If I lose my stance, I take it in good strides, and we take that decision and we move along. That's the way I intend to rule. It's not about me being the MP, and so whatever I say is the final. No. So the constituent executives, the last time I met them, those of them who were even on the campaign trail with the MP, even though I told them it was morally wrong, legally maybe right, but morally wrong. But I told them, I encouraged them, and I told them that even if I win, I'm going to work with all of them. And I hope to keep with that. I won't say that this is my favorite, this person didn't campaign for me, and for that reason, no. I believe that everybody has to do his or her work. And so I'll carry along everybody. And I'm sure with that attitude would go very far with my work as an MP.
So during the general election, what is the selling point that you're taking to your people that they should choose you and not the other contenders coming from the other parties?
They have been contemplating whether they are going to field candidates.
Because of you?
Yeah, because of me. Some of the MP people categorically told me that their fear is that once I come on board, I will whip all the MPP votes together. And so they may not get much for themselves. And so it's always been their fear. So some of them intentionally work against me because of this phobia that once Maxwell comes, he carries all the votes. So I hope that we'll carry the votes in the basket and carry it to JM. Yes, definitely.
Okay.
And so I'm targeting about 95% of the total vote in Southern for JM. Yes.
So you're not going to put up a marketing plan because your other party now, they are even afraid to put up a candidate?
No, not necessarily. You see, these things, like I say, it wouldn't be my personal idea. It's going to be a collective idea.
Okay.
And after this long campaigning, we'll take in some few weeks break. We'll come back to the round table and put our ideas together and run along with it. Meanwhile, I have a flyer that has detailed exactly what I will even do as an MP. I have another one that has detailed how I'm going to handle my branch executives, my delegates. And so there's already the blueprint. There isn't going to be anything new. So I intend to run with that. But now that I am the PC, we still have to sit down with my constituency executives and decide exactly what we're going to do. Don't forget, this is going to be a party issue. The National Democratic Congress, from the national level, depending on what we put together and how we do it, then we'll run along. And I am a member of the National Democratic Congress National Infrastructure Committee.
Okay.
So we draft the manifesto, the aspect of the manifesto that concerns with roads and highways, lands and natural resources, ports and harbors, railways, and all those other ones. So I am part of that committee.
Okay.
So it is after we have done our work and our manifesto comes out, then we'll say that this, and this is what we intend to do.
Okay.
But at the local level, you know, my constituency, there are a lot of roads that are very deplorable. So you need to lobby for these roads to be fixed. Our land is generally agrarian. A lot of rice farms and mango farming, cashew, and so we need to encourage all those ones. So generally, I said I was going to help with inputs, tractors, seed, and even the weedicides to be able to help farmers do better in their field of work, to empower those who are already in businesses, small-scale businesses, so that they can blow out and then make meaning for themselves. Students, how to help them with scholarships to go to the tertiary institutions and make sure that they also become like some of us. I'm sure had they not been through tertiary institutions and other institutions, we wouldn't be here today representing our people. So I intend to push them and make sure that they get to the highest level that they can ever get to, so that after us, they can also take over from us. Yeah, sure.
Okay, good that you have a plan about even succession.
Yeah, sure.
Who would succeed you?
Definitely. Somebody has to succeed somebody. I can't be there forever. So you need to nurture people who can take over from you.
But you want to do like 20 years?
I really don't know. It depends on how well I play on the field. Now I'm just on the touchline. So when I get to the field,
you will see.
Yeah, depending on how skillful I'm able to display, the coach will decide whether I should be there forever or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go to Dr. Titus Beyuo. You have a very tighter contest coming up because for your constituency, the MP there now is an MPP MP.
Yeah.
Of course, they would want to maximize the seats they have in Parliament because what they have gone through in the past 2-3 years, I'm not sure they would want to repeat same. So it means that they will come on with all the might that they have. First of all, let's talk about how you did it before we come to the mayor.
Okay.
You were going against a former MP.
Yeah.
One time you did it. How do you do it?
All right. So I think it's a constellation of factors.
Okay.
First of all, there's a God factor, and when the favor of God is upon you, His grace is upon you, you act in time, and God's will is always perfect. So if you move in the will of God, you're never out of time. And when you are acting in your season, all other factors play to your good. And I think that was the first thing. Second thing is that I would say that I had the support of family. I mean, making that decision wasn't an easy decision. I had to consult family, I had to consult friends over years. I would have done this contest in 2016. And then upon consultations, I was asked to wait. In 2020, I wanted to contest again. Leadership of the party at the constituency level and others said, look, wait, let's give our MP a third chance in Parliament. And unfortunately, he lost. And then the calls became even more. So I went in response to a call now from the people who had asked me to wait, who said, come, and we need you at this point to salvage the situation. So when I went in, the team that I put together was also a very unique team. My campaign was championed by the youth. You know, of all the candidates that contested, I'm the most youthful of them. And the youth saw in me an embodiment of themselves, somebody who holds promise for the future, someone who would think about their well-being. And my focus was, I mean, there is a saying that some of our candidates in the past will tell people, push me to climb the tree. When I get there, whatever is there, I'll eat and drop some for you. And I said, no, you push me up there. When I get there, I want to pull your kids up. I want to pull other children up so they can eat and drop for you. I mean, I'm not sure I can possibly feed myself full and feed my family, let alone to feed the rest. But if I pull other people, if I can produce a 20 of Dr. Beyuo from that constituency, 20 families, 20 communities are better off. And that's my vision. And so I had that empowerment of the youth. They went in the night, they went everywhere on motorbikes, and I'm so grateful to the youth from various communities that carried the campaign. Another strong factor was women. As you will know, I'm a gynecologist and a doctor of women. There are places I get to, the women did a campaign for me. Why? Because my previous track record in the district spoke for itself. Before my interventions in the district, our population is about 51,000 people. No surgery, simple surgery could be performed in that entire district. For a woman to have a cesarean section, they needed to travel to the adjoining districts like Nandom or Laura or Drapa to be able to have cesarean section. I brought in a team of medical doctors. We brought in equipment from the US. We did surgery. We're the first set of people to perform any surgery on Lambuse soil. And subsequently empowered the local doctors there, and they started performing surgeries. We have 2 doctors in the entire district. And so some of the hospitals and CHIPS centers, I went there, donated delivery beds. So you get to a place and a woman rises up and says, as for this man, but for him, we're delivering on the floor. So then they speak for you, you know. So that also did
the magic.
And the bigger thing was the message that we carried. We went in with a consistent, clear message in education. We wanted to improve the educational performance of the district, very poor. One media outlet ranked the district in the Upper West region. Out of the 11 districts, our district was ranked the least in performance in BC. So I wanted to increase literacy. So I talked about getting a community library, learner support system, teacher support system. I had plan in agriculture, in terms of road infrastructure, is terrible. And the greatest thing is advocacy. And you would know in my previous role that I was a great advocate for the health and well-being of Ghana by way of my position in the Medical Association. And my community lacked advocacy in terms of our previous and current leaders. They've done their bit, but the advocacy bit was lacking. We have serious issues to contend with. We are one of the only districts in the country without a tarred road. Not an inch of tar. Hey. Wow. Yes, the only tarred road you see in our district is an international road that connects straight to Burkina Faso. In our district capital, everywhere, there's not an inch of tarred road. Ooh. We have peculiar problems. When they introduce this GPS addressing system, you will stand in our district capital, and when you check and attempt to create a GPS address for your home, it will give you the name of another district. Oh. There are communities as we speak today. And I can mention, if you go to Hapa, Hapa is one of our communities from Hamele going towards Bangon, very close to Burkina Faso. If you stand there and you want to create a GPS address for your house, you can't locate it on the system. And you would find the Hapa town somewhere located in Burkina Faso or somewhere located near Nabala, another community a bit south. These are peculiar challenges. I mean, when we did the 2020-21 housing census, very few districts in this country got their population actually reduced. Our population stagnated and actually reduced. So in a period of 10 years, from 2010 to 2020, we didn't increase. You know, so is it that people are migrating so much, or what is it? So we have peculiar problems that advocacy for that district is lacking. And it was one of my trump card that I'm coming in with to speak on behalf of the district. As I speak now, some of the things I mentioned are surprising to you. We know everybody needs a Ghana card. You need a digital address to get your Ghana card. And if where you live, you check and it's giving you the name of another district, how does that work for you? So these are some of the problems that we needed somebody to speak for, and they found in me that person. I think the final one was that the entire party came to the agreement that I stood the best chance in us wrestling power from the NPP, because it is our seat. And if you look at the trajectory of election results there, we hardly lose that seat. Since '92, we've lost it only twice. And anytime we've lost the seat, there's been an issue internally. And this last one, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama had over 70% of the votes, yet we lost the seat. And there were challenges. The former MP did his best, but could not solve them. And because of that, people voted skirt and blouse. There was people were very disgruntled. And coming in as a neutral face, the leadership of the party, the youth, everybody felt that I could unite everybody. And indeed, I did that. I began with my unity work. I got important persons within the party that were disgruntled back together. On my campaign trail, you will find there our past district chief executive, Honorable Kofi Bomdiaka was part of it. The past constituency chairman was on it. Some of the constituency executives followed me. People, our past MP, Madam Alice Tenibon, was supporting me. I got everybody together. And even after the results, the next thing I did was to visit my senior brother, Honorable Edward Derry. That's the former MP. I spoke with him at home. We chatted, and everything looked okay. I've spoken to the other contender, Dr. Emmanuel Kambampanya, who also did his best. And I've reached out not only to the heads, but to their team members, so that we can unite the party quickly, because that is the only surest way of getting this. And that's why I said I'm confident that the NDC will get back that seat. And I'm confident that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will win again, because to the people of Lambuse, NDC means a lot to us. If you compare track records in terms of development, you can't match that what NPP has done there and then what the NDC has done. So if you are going into the next election, we are just going to tell them what we have done and what we are going to do. And I'm sure we will get it.
I'm in love with the 20 doctors plan, because that's really huge. Yes, if you're able to produce 20 doctors from your constituency, at least even within the, you won't realize it in the 4 years.
Yes,
but that's the start.
Exactly.
So say every year, even if you take 5 people, to the medical school medicine, it means that in the next 7 years,
Exactly.
You would have those.
Yeah.
At least by when you start in the first year.
Yeah.
By the 7th year, you have the first. You
have the
5
first
coming out.
And these days, you can even get some a bit quicker because I teach in a medical school.
Okay.
And I'm a senior lecturer in the University of Ghana Medical School. We have what we call the graduate medical entry program.
Okay.
Where people who have first degree in science-related programs can enter into medical school and do an abridged program of 4 to 5 years and become doctors.
Okay.
So if you have qualified candidates, we sponsor some of them. These people will go. And you see, they are more willing to serve in these communities because they've grown there. When you have nurses, you have teachers, and that's one of the challenges we've been advocating for. The recent recruitment GES is doing. We're making a case. Take the people from the community. Because you take somebody from Accra, you push the person to a community where there's no telephone network. There's no electricity. The person cannot even locate where he's going to with a Google map. So the person gets there. Within the next year, they are out on transfer. But if someone who's grown up there gets into school, gets into training college, he's already used to the system. They are more willing to come back and serve. So it's part of the advocacy we hope to do so that in terms of recruitment, special attention can be given to very deprived areas like this because our teacher population is poor. And some of the schools, they are using volunteer teachers who are paid by the communities themselves, and that is not good enough. And some of these people apply for GES recruitment, and they are not taken, even though they are qualified. So there are issues, but it's about developing the people. Developing the district starts with developing its people, and that's where poverty alleviation begins.
Okay. You see, fantastic idea, fantastic plans.
Yeah.
Both of you have.
Yeah.
But I'm sure when you went to the delegate, you had to cough up a lot of money, a lot.
Do you want to go there?
But because it's a challenge.
Yes.
And the earlier we start to talk about it and try to sway people from it, we will not get quality. Look at you. I've listened to the two of you and I feel that, I mean, these are the kind of people you want to represent your constituency.
Yes.
How much did you have to invest before you got? Let me start with you, Dr. Beyuo.
I don't have a figure to it. I'm sorry.
About 2 million?
Oh, I don't have that. If I have that, I would have put up a hospital in my I don't have 2 million cedis. But I mean, in my situation, I would say that the wind of change was blowing. And once the delegates found you as a credible person and one that can spearhead that change, I didn't have to spend that much. People bought into the idea. I sold my message, and of course, but it involves a lot of cost. I live in Accra. I have to fly home every time I'm going. You move with a team.
But I'm sure you can give an estimate of how much moved away from you for this program.
I wouldn't be.
What was? Oh,
I have to.
Look, you were spending.
Yes.
It was moving from your account. It was going. Your friends were bringing.
So let me use this opportunity to thank all those who helped me. A lot of people helped.
Your donors.
Yes. A lot of people helped. Family, friends, schoolmates, some of my uncles in the districts who are in Accra and other places, and some even within the district.
Some of your colleagues said they estimated around 1 million cedis.
No.
On this. Maxwell, how much did you spend?
I don't think I'll reach.
I don't have a figure.
The two of you don't want to be factual with me.
No. I am grateful to my people who sponsored. People gave me money actually. Somebody gave me 2 plots of land to sell. You know the license.
Okay. Yes.
The field of land.
Yeah.
And I help a lot of people in that field.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of job for people, and people gave me money. They gave, and so I sold that one. I sold one plot for 80,000. So the two of them was 160,000.
160,000.
People bought motorbikes for me. People gave me as much as 50,000. People gave me 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, and people gave as low as 100 cedis. Yes, because they bought into my message and they were ready to support.
So you could be spending close to a million cedis.
Yeah, it's possible.
1 million cedis on primary.
It's possible.
Wow.
But for him, his primaries is the general election. I still have another battle ahead, so I couldn't have spent a million.
Sincerely, our primaries it's like the general election, and so you put in your all to make sure that you emerge victorious.
Right, then I'm sure you spend more than 1 million. Because, like you say, you may probably be getting close to 2 million cedis. Because I had a conversation with one of you who who said even after he had spent a lot of money, close to $1 million,
Yeah.
he had to come back to Accra to look for around $1 million.
And go back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's not, it depends on the size of the constituency. I have about 166 branches. People have over 240 something branches. And you have 9 delegates in each branch. So I have about 1,528 together with the constituency executives and the special delegates. We have about 1,528 to deal with at every point in time. Of course, the generality are the branch executive 1494 or so thereabout, and so those are the numbers you need to deal with. So when you visit them, of course, or you invite them to a program, at least you need to give them TNT. Then when you can't, you may have to get some lunch for them. During the day of the voting, you have to transport them in and out. Even though the party itself would have given them something, of course, you need to also appreciate their coming and going back. Because, of course, they would have left their job to come and spend the whole day in the district capital for the election. And so they are part of the game.
So former President Mahama, for example, was appreciating people with 40 cedis transportation. How much were you giving in transportation?
You want me to mention?
Oh, exactly. I mean, even former President Mahama named his, and we all say, okay, well, that's to appreciate them. How much did you give?
It's not for the consumption of the media. You want my delegates to be angry with me? I don't want people to calculate how much they would have gotten in all so that they go and attack me.
Oh, come on.
So I'll keep that between myself and my delegates. I am so grateful to them. Some of them were ready to give up whatever transportation and feed I was going to give to them. They were ready to give it up. They were not interested in picking it up. And so I am so grateful to them. And most of them contributed.
Yeah, I mean,
a branch contributed money and brought to me. One branch contributed 1,000 cedis. That is your Kutipo branch. They brought me 1,000 cedis in an envelope to support my campaign. Can you imagine?
You know, so the general thinking is that we always send out. But if you are a candidate with a message and that the people like you, they actually do. Because I had some of my executives contributing money to pay for my picking of my nomination form. In the course of the campaign, young guys took their own motorbikes, filled them with fuel, and moved around. I didn't have to supply all of them fuel. In fact, when you saw my campaign team moving, you will wonder that how I got the money, because you will see 6 vehicles in a motorcade moving. But I only own one of them. People donated their own vehicles, fueled them, donated it, asked drivers to come on board so that the number of people using motorbikes will be reduced. So they all join these vehicles. And it's a collective effort. So it's the reason why we are so grateful to these, to the delegates and to all those who supported.
So what do you make of former President Mahama's 40 cedis transportation?
It's a very good move. It's a very good move. You know, because this contest, the people were coming in to cut 2 votes. Vote for him.
I don't want the vote to be transported.
No, they needed to.
They have to be transported.
So why?
Yeah. No, you see, it's the party will normally have to do that. So somebody has to finance that. And if you take my constituency, if you give even the 40 cedis, may not be enough if people didn't add up. Because if you buy, how much is a liter of fuel? If you buy that into a motorbike from the farthest part of the constituency, in and out, you may spend a little over that. And we have to feed the delegates. So all of us had to contribute to make sure that it was worthwhile. And I think it's a very good decision he took. Then in nominal terms, it may look small, but looking at the number of delegates, it becomes a lot. And I think he's done very well by it.
What was your budget for the D-Day? Feeding people and paying transportation?
Oh, feeding people, I don't remember what the budget was, because bought rice, bought something.
You know why? Because I want us to look into monetizing politics in this country.
Okay.
2 fantastic brains.
Yes.
Sitting here.
Yeah.
But if we don't curtail this art of
monetization,
you know,
it
is we say the highest bidder.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Then it means that we may have to lose you in parliament because someone is paying more.
Yeah.
How do we deal with that issue of monetizing of our politics in this country?
Take a fair shot at that. My brother, my senior comrades, who has done this several times, will come in. I think gradually it's getting worse in terms of the supply, but it's getting better maybe in terms of the demand. Why am I saying this? You will see situations where people have used so much money and still lose, telling you that the people are getting more discerning, and it's not just money. They also look at the quality of the candidate. But the final solution in this thing lies in us looking at who is a branch executive. And I would encourage all those who are concerned about monetization, the middle class, to join branches of our party, the great NDC, and pick up forms at the branch level and contest and win positions at the branches. Because if you are there, you can then decide that I will not be influenced by money or inducement. But to the extent that we sit out of the circle and leave it to some other people, and the people demand, or they are supplied and it influences them, or it induces them with, they are induced with money, we can only cry, but it will yield nothing. So we need a lot more of the middle class in the grassroots politics. Then when the campaign comes up, it is going to be analysis of policies, ideas. What is this person bringing on board? And then they'll look at it. But I can say that, especially at least in Lambuse, our delegates are getting very, very, very discerning. And I could see that, because if it was just money, I'm not sure I would have won.
Okay.
They are listening to what we are saying. They are identifying who can get us the seats, who can unite the party, who can do this, who can do this. And it plays a role. But yes, in terms of the supply side, most people are getting that idea that to win, you just have to come with money, which is wrong. Yeah.
So what sort of impact does that have on our politics? For example, if you have someone coming in a lot of money, and you probably not having many, but you believe that you are the quality that the people need.
So the immediate impact is that it scares away very good brains, people with very good technical background that would have contributed to the rich discussions in Parliament, formulate very good laws. If you hear that someone spent 1 million cedis and you have never made 1 million cedis, would you come? Definitely not. If you're having some 200,000, you want to come and throw it and don't get. So it scares away people. And it also means that if we don't take care, some people can just hijack the entire system. Because you see, people with hidden agenda can finance others, and they'll just come and take the positions, and we'll get to Parliament and all sorts of bills will be coming up because they are sponsored by some kind of people. So it's something we ought to be careful about. And I think His Excellency John Dramani Mahama spoke about it when he talked about financing political parties, that we really need to look at it. If you look at what he's doing now, he's come up with a financing app. People can donate towards the campaign. We are mobilizing money as a party so that one individual doesn't come and give you $10 million and then owns whatever is happening there. We need to own the democratic process. The individual Ghanaian has to contribute something. I have encouraged people to contribute, and people contributed, as he mentioned. People gave 50 cedis, 100 cedis. In my next phase, I'm going to encourage a lot of people to contribute so that you are not paying allegiance to only one person. Because if your budget is 1 million cedis, for instance, and somebody gives you that budget, how are you going to say no if that person says something else to you? You know, so everybody must be concerned, and I think His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's position on this was apt. If we don't take care, the state must play a role. The citizens must own the process by contributing towards it. So even if there's a demand for money, we don't give people with ulterior motives the opportunity to hijack the process.
Okay. All right. We're still talking about this whole thing about, monetizing our elections. How threatening was it in your constituency, for example?
No, sincerely, we can't take money out of politics. Because, of course, like you said, you have cars going with you, you need to fuel them. There are people on the campaign trail, you need to feed them. You can't go and meet people for 3 hours and just walk away, unless you need to appreciate them. They would have spent that 3 hours on productive venture. Of course, this is also productive, but personally. So once they come to sit down with you and you meet them for 3 hours, there's always a city allowance, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
So at least you appreciate them with something. So the point here is that would you alone bear all the responsibility? Best practice is that people contribute to your campaign if they believe in you as a person.
Yeah. Sorry, but we know that apart from that, even people do call you, oh, my rent, my school fees, my blah, 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 because you want to be an MP. That puts a strain on your finances.
Not necessarily. Even people ask you on rent, right? You as a person. Yes.
But not as many as they will approach you.
At a larger scale. So the point is that society needs some things. Once we are poor, we need things. And when people have needs, they will contact somebody for it. But of course, once you bring yourself up, you are more susceptible to people to call. Because yes, your contacts and everything is out there for everybody to see. So they will definitely call you. And for me, once there's a need, it has to be met. Whether as a politician or not a politician, I still have to meet people's need. In my world as a professional, you know, I do a lot of, I'm a licensed surveyor, I have a salt mine, I have a hotel, and I also, I'm a contractor. So I employ people in all these fields. And so I believe that once I am better placed in society and I can make resources myself, there are people who will not be as privileged as I am. And so give it to them. So I do, not necessarily because I am a politician.
Yeah, but you see, the point is that as a private person, the sort of request that will come to you is nowhere close to when you,
of course, that's what I'm saying,
decide to become an MP.
Yourself up. You need the help of people, so they will also come back to you. It's like a symbiotic relationship. You need me to help you to vote for you. I also need you to help me pay my war school fees. You get it? And for me, if I'm paying your war school fees, it's because I believe that your war should become something tomorrow. Primarily, that's why I'm paying it. Not necessarily because I will need you to vote for me. If I'm paying your bill at the hospital, it's because I want you to be off to come and take care of your personal needs. And one day you may also want to support me. But it's not necessarily a compulsory act that once I pay your fees, you should also come to vote for me. My point is that yes, people have needs and it has to be met by somebody somewhere. I also believe that it's because some politicians are not living to the standard people expect from them. Their roads are still deplorable. They still don't get water to drink. They have to be buying water. The things they need, basically, they don't have. So once you come up and say, I can do this, prove that you can do it. So at least you also have to give out something. So, but at the end of the day, somebody will have to sponsor that. So once people believe in who I am as a person, that's how much they can contribute to my campaign. So I tell you, I got almost about 300,000 donations from people towards this campaign. It's because they believed in the brand Maxwell Lukuto, and they believe that he can do what he says he can do because he has a track record. So as for the money, you spend it. You need it to spend during the process. Because, of course, our party will have to sell form 5,000. You have to pay filing fee of 40,000. The region took some money from you. And all that process, before you end, it's all money. People will contribute towards that. Beyond that, like I said, you meet people, you give. And the D-Day when they come, you may have to house some few of them. You may have to feed some few of them because the person has left his comfort zone and come. You need to take care of him some way, somehow. It's a quantum sometimes that it's scary. But once you know what you are doing and you do a good and clean campaign, whatever you give to people, they will believe in you. And still, like he said, you saw somebody in her vehicle throwing money and splashing it in there and still lost the election. So it's not necessarily how much you dole out. It's about other things. But money plays a role too. But at the end of the day, you should be a credible candidate. You should have a good message. People should believe in you and believe that what you say you would go to do for them, you have started or you have done some before. So for me, it's a combination of a lot of things. You can't take money out of politics. It's going to be part of it. But it becomes better, like my brother said, if you have very discerning people being part of the process. In the last election that we had during the branch election, you have medical doctors and very highly qualified people going to far as branch executives. And so those caliber of people is not about the highest bidder. It's about the best candidate at the time. Even if I give you 1,000 cedis, will you just go and vote for somebody because he gave you 1,000 cedis, another gave you 100 cedis? No. You will look at the people and then play along whoever you think is the best candidate. So yes, money is necessary, but should not be the determinant. And it should not scare people. Once you are a good candidate, come on board, sell your message, people will buy into it. The little we give to them, I'm sure they will roll on with you. That's what I believe in.
All right. Okay, so in that same regard, let me come to you, Dr. Beyuo. When someone becomes an MP,
yeah,
and like you're saying, you have fantastic plans. For example, 20 medical doctors, but instead of concentrating resources into that,
yeah,
people will be bugging you with personal issues because you are their MP.
Yeah.
You will need their vote.
Yeah.
So the slightest thing, they will run to you. Isn't that a worry that will probably push some of the very good materials we have away from joining? Or is that not even why people are not joining, you know?
It's a genuine concern, I think, that we have to look at. But this concern is not arising in vacuum.
Okay.
It's arising in the economic environment that we live in. If people were empowered, people were employed, people were meeting their daily needs, they'll probably not make those demands of us. So I think it's a chicken and egg situation.
Okay.
We need to improve the economy, improve the livelihoods of people so they can fend for themselves rather than demanding everything from their members of parliament. So I see the persistent demands from constituents on MPs or constituents on politicians as a sign of the general economic failure that we have as a country. Okay. Because if you go to the developed world, how many people walk up to the house of their representative and ask for money? Because they are employed, they are working. I need something, I budget for it, I work for it, I save for it. Here, you have young people sitting down with no jobs, with certificates. So what is the alternative for them? So somebody is going to the hospital and needs money. They would ask because there is no other alternative for them. So that can stop if we transition our economy generally from whatever it is now in economic terms, whether it's middle income, lower middle income, or whether we are junk status. If we transition it into a developing or a developed economy that is very thriving, where young people who finish school can get jobs. You see, sometimes when someone makes a request of you, and some of them, the request is not much, but you see in it the abject poverty. You see, if a young man who is finished university is sitting down in the town square and ask you for 10 cedis or 50 cedis, you realize that that person is not being lazy. That person is not just asking because you are just a politician, but they have a need to meet, and somebody has to supply that. So, and rather than us just continuously doling out money, it should prick the conscience of the politicians. I don't know if I'm a politician yet, but, but if I am one,
you are you are so motivated. To go back to your secretary.
No, he's been a politician since because he won the general secretary through politics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm one,
you are.
It should prick our conscience to look at how can we improve the livelihoods of the people. For me, I think that, and I spoke, this is one of the things I told my people on the campaign. You see, if you ask me something now, I would give you if I have it. Yeah. But I think the best gift I can give you is to plant a tree in your house. What do I mean by planting a tree in your house? If I become a member of parliament, and I'm hoping that the people of Lambuse will do me that favor, and there are opportunities, and we spread it out, and you identify a community, pick up one promising child from there, get that person a job. It is the responsibility of that person to take care of the rest of the community. I don't expect people from that household to making demands of me. And that's how these demands can go down. So if you empower people one at a time and spread it out, don't let it be in one family. So if I ever have an opportunity to get somebody an employment or to give somebody money to start a business or something, I'll probably focus more on women.
Okay.
For very obvious reasons. When the women have money, they keep the home. A lot of the time, when men already have money, but may not be so supportive of the women. And I'm a very strong advocate for women. And in my whole life, that's what I do.
That's why.
Yes. So I was telling people, when people come and they are giving transportation money, you can have 2 delegates, both of them a couple. The man will take his own, go get a bottle of drink with his friends, have fun. The woman will take that and go home and look at how they can get a next meal for the family. So if we empower them, we are alleviating poverty. if we are empowering the youth, there's a lot of promise in that. And let's spread it out. So don't give everything to one side.
Okay.
Then you have one family producing all the doctors, all the lawyers, and the rest of the community is still in poverty. They will come demanding. If you don't give, they will rob. Because they are dying. It's survival. It's an existential threat that is coming to them. So we should look at improving the economy in general.
Okay.
Then these demands will go down. So anybody who is worried about the demands and therefore will not want to contest a position, look at in your private life.
Okay.
How many people can you employ?
Okay.
He has employed people. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have a private hospital. I employ people. So how many people can you employ? How many people can you take out of poverty? And if all of us do that, there are some things we can do for ourselves, and that's where government comes in. And that's where we have to look at the larger proportion. I would, on this platform, advocate that if we want to improve the economy, the next government of this country must be NDC. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has outlined cogent principles that he's going to use to turn around things.
Okay.
If we get the NDC government in, the social democratic governance that we practice as NDC, you realize that we spread out everything, and it's not only limited to few families.
Okay.
And that principle, eventually, maybe the next time my son or your son decide to contest as an MP, it will be people donating to him, not him having to feed people.
Okay, so I guess that when you win as an MP, we have to look forward to you empowering women in your constituency.
A lot.
Creating just for the youth.
A lot.
Anyway, let me share some of the messages that have come. You have a lot of messages coming in. This one says, our incoming, okay, so this is Spatula GH. Our incoming MP, Maxwell Lukuto, that's what he said. Watching live from Soga Kope.
That's my...
That's part of
okay.
That's my constituency.
All right. Koku Elolo says, my parliamentary candidate, Maxwell Kwame Lukuto. You're called Kwame?
Kwame.
Oh. Adolf Akom says, Samuel Okudzoto Ablakwa, best MP ever lived on the soils of Ghana.
Yeah.
God bless you, Honorable. Okay, he's not here, but I'm sure he will hear it.
Yeah.
Togbi Jablu, the fourth, says, best man for the job. Kai. You know him?
I know him.
Oh, okay.
He's a journalist.
Oh, okay. Solomon Hero King says, very good morning to join you for having our incoming member of parliament for South Tong, Honorable Maxwell Kwame Lukuto. The man we have in the moment who's willing, ready, and able to work hard for a better South Tong. The man that brings more happiness among the peoples of South Tong. 4x4.
4x4.
Game Su. Is that it?
Gamesu.
Gamesu. Okay. All right. MCR Preko says, good morning, dear host. Good news is that the MPP kingmakers and the grassroots have endorsed Dr. Akoto Afriye over the rest of the aspirant. It will be advisable for the rest to save resources to support the general elections campaign because Dr. Akoto Afriye has already taken the lead. Dr. Akoto is the incoming president of Ghana. Still, Dr. Akoto is the legend from MCR Preko office of Kasi Caucus, Asokwa constituency. Idrisu Abdul Martin says, good morning, Joy News. My regards to incoming MP for Lambusie constituency. The Lambusie people can't wait to give him a victory in 2024. Okay. Koku Elolo again says, the people's MP, Maxwell Kwame Lukuto. Best wishes, Dr. Titus Beyuo. Okay. His name is in Arabic, so I can't.
You need to learn how to read that.
Geo State survey says Togbi Bagblaja, the second. Press on, rest not. That's your name? Togbi Bagblaja.
That's my nickname with him.
Okay. TBA Paulino says, good morning, Joy News. Lambusie is very much grateful for you, Dr. Beyuo. We pray and hope for an outstanding result coming 2024. Okay.
Yeah.
Solomon Hero King says, we are so much excited to have a credible man like Honorable Maxwell Kwame Lukuto. Sally Alfred says, as a constituent of Lambusie, I'm proud of you, Doctor. I'm proud to have voted for you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Asigbe Lolonyo says, new era, Mr. Lukuto. John Bosco Nago says Lambusie has now got its projector. The demand for Dr. Titus K. Beyuo to represent Lambusie has been enormous. In fact, Dr. Titus K. Beyuo is the answer for Lambusie's leadership and relaunching needs. Such an eloquent and solid submission. Okay. Good response, Maxi, on funding of primaries. That is a fair and honest response. Okay. Votia Moses de Young says, we pray God gives you strength and the needed resources or logistics for better South Tongue and Ghana at large. Okay. Musa Abatwa says, as IMF decides to accept our program and give us relief of $3 billion, Parliament should establish a bipartisan committee to determine how the money should be disbursed, because government cannot be trusted. We know how they shared COVID-19 funds like Kelewele. According to Ken Ofreata, going to IMF is no more recklessness, but an achievement. Posterity is judging them. Co-main Sampila says, Kumeuba election, NDC 10, MPP 60,000. Anyway, regards to Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia, our next president of the Republic of Ghana, by co-main Sampila 2. Okay, this one says, just like how Nanado told majority, where were they when Ken Ofreata was financing his campaign? Ken Ofreata has hijacked the system. Regards to the incoming MP for South Tongue, Nyinto is happy now. Nana Ansu brought this one in. Sebastian Danby says, congrats to Dr. Titus Beyuo, PC for Lambosie constituency. It's obvious that the current MP is on his way home, even before election 2024. 2024 is possible. Kazi MKG Trinzink says, South Tongue NDC delegate, you have chosen a leader and an agent of development. I'm proud of you, Max Lukuto. Richard Amponsan says, greetings to Honorable Alexander Kojo Ajari, MP for Kede constituency. So far, so good. Honorable Tuaso. Lambusie to the entire world. Dr. Titus Beyuo, may Allah guide and protect you for you to be able to advocate for Lambusie. Amen. Leadership, including advocacy, is the benchmark of development, and we see that in you. Michael Avenogbo says, South Tongue will work again. Evans Denning says, please, greetings to you from Teshi. God bless you for the good works you people are doing in the country. Asigbe Lolonyo says, Dr. Beyuo, super. Hey. Look, before you even go into the main elections, you have an accolade. Now, Lambusie, we can also brag of having a vibrant person to represent us in Parliament. Okay. And now, empowering the youth will solve this problem. Get them jobs, and they will take care of their households. Yeah. May God bring Mr. Titus, so that's Dr. Titus Beyuo, to power. This is conscience. Okay. Oh, lovely. Maxwell Lukuto and your colleagues are doing great. I love your host, who is asking relevant and factual questions. Hey, thank you. Okay. So this is from a very good friend of mine, Richard Honyefia Bonnie. He's been a solid teacher in my place, a hunter. Okay. He's taught a lot of us. I mean, when I was a student, he was a teacher, but he's become a good friend. He says, that's the next MP for my beloved South Tongue constituency. With him, I can be sure of improvement in education. Wow. Richard Bonnie. Okay. Wow. He's a solid educationist. I'm sure he will become a PhD holder very, very soon.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Bonnie.
Yeah, Bonnie, yes.
Yeah. From my hometown.
Oh, he's a very solid teacher. He's taught a lot of people in my place. And if I had my way, I'll probably award him, because he's an everman who's traveled all the way to a hunter, and he's found a way to really love us. Wow. He's become one of us, really. I really adore him for that. Yeah. So maybe when you become an MP, you might think of getting him to be your director of education. Raymond Agbana says, Dr. Titus Beyuo is the hope of the Lambusie constituency, MP in waiting. Okay. Let's see. Let me see if this one says what? Okay. I think I've dealt with this already. There's so many messages. Yeah. Okay. Fred Adinam Godson says, Max. South Tongue into the world. Okay. Yeah. John Twillinio. I hope I've had your name. If I've murdered it, please forgive me. Dr. Titus Beyuo, congrats. Work hard and regain the Lambusie seat for the NDC. Baligi should start packing his MPP incumbent MP. Okay. All right. Dr. Beyuo is a fantastic man. He's the people's man. The first time we have someone representing us on TV. Oh, really? I don't think that's right. Yes. Okay. Faith Senor Tamaklo says, 4x4. We are proud of you, Max. New chapter in the history of South Tongue. Max, the people's choice. Faith Senor brought this one in. Mr. Lukuto, the new era for South Tong, Enku Lenu Enam brought this one in. Good morning, Joy. It's refreshing watching the submissions of the two PCs. Hopefully, they deliver on their work. Salute to Honorable Lukuto. Dr. Titus, Beyuo, victory awaits you. No shaking. Liekuta Titus Abatanye. Please forgive me if I'm meddling your names. Forgive me, I know names are very, very important to all of us, but sometimes. Anna Ansu says, regards to the incoming MP for South Tong, Yinto is happy now. Who's Yinto?
Yinuto is a community.
Ah, okay.
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 It's one of the branches.
Okay. All right then. All right, let's see. I think we would have to end it here.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to you. But just before we go, maybe your last words. Dr. Beyuo, let me start with you.
Okay. So I think my final words will be that I'm very grateful to the people of Lambuse, to my party delegates, and all those who supported my campaign, and for giving me the opportunity and electing me as your parliamentary candidate. But it doesn't end there. We need to get into parliament to bring all the plans we have. And not only that, we need His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to get to become the next president of Ghana.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that the people of Lambuse and Ghana at large will give John Mahama the opportunity, while Lambuse give me the opportunity to work with him. Just for one reason. It is the first time a presidential candidate, I may be wrong, but this is the first time I have seen commit to completing ongoing projects. And for Lambuse, we have an Agenda 111 hospital that has been started.
Okay.
We don't know if it will be completed before or whatever, but there is that commitment that he'll complete ongoing projects. We have chip centers that were started during the elsewhere NDC administration that were not complete and have been left to stand there. So if we want that government that brings continuity, that shares the national cake fairly to places like Lambuse, we have no choice than to bring His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to power. And I plead with the constituents of Lambuse to put aside party color, put aside tribal color, put aside everything and look at the next candidate who will bring the needed development to Lambuse. And I think I'm the person.
One. Okay. Dr. Titus Beyuo, former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, now parliamentary candidate of the NDC for the Lambuse constituency. Let's see how 2024 will go. But I'm sure between now and then, we'll have a lot of
definitely.
chat,
Definitely.
The people's man, Maxwell Lukuto.
Yes, 4x4.
4x4. Your last word, sir.
I'm so grateful to the people of South Tong, my chiefs, all the traditional areas, Bumet, the Flesh, Okwe, Fievie, Agave. I'm grateful to my team, Man's Job. I'm grateful to everybody, my family. I'm grateful to everybody that worked with me. I am so grateful. It's been a torturous time, contesting 3 different occasions and going for the 4th time. I'm also grateful to my other aspirants, Steve, Vivian, Jonathan, and then our incumbent MP, Kobina Mensah Oyuma. I'm so grateful to everybody, the constituency executives. I don't want to mention names so that I will miss up on anybody, but anybody who contributed, my financiers, I am so grateful. Within a period of 5 weeks, we'll be able to back over 300,000 cities. So grateful to everybody for believing in me and for doing this for once. I promise I'm never going to disappoint you. We pray, the whole country watching us, John Dramani Mahama is the savior of this country. We have gone so low, we have sunk so deep, and it's my prayer that, like somebody said, there's $604 million that has come.
Okay, 600 million first.
Yes. Won't be used to purchase Kelly. Won't be shared like Kelly. Like we saw in the COVID fund. We are pleading that for once, decency should come into our minds. We see them already branding cars. We beg them. This money is supposed to be used for something. And I'm sure the IMF...
But you saw the car before the money came. Why are you trying to attach it to them?
I don't know whether something went behind it.
But you don't know if more will come.
More will come. So my fear is that we should remain where we are. Let's not go on the spending spree and go down the drain again. John Dramani Mahama, the savior of Ghana, will definitely come. The hole should not be dug deeper. No, please. where we have gotten to is enough for us.
Okay.
Kenoforiata, you have made a promise that after the money has come, you will resign. We are hoping and praying that within the next week or so, you will resign, so that we can save Ghana from the doldrums. We are pleading. Ghana is bleeding.
All right.
John Dramani Mahama, our savior, would come. We are all ready. Let's give him the necessary support. All Ghanaians. Like my brother said, no political colors. Let's focus on who the best candidate is. We give him the best so that Ghana will breathe again.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. But I have to do this for you, Dr. Beyuo. Khalifa Isifu Muhammad says, Dr. Titus, I need your mentorship, the man for the job. So I'm sure you have to look for him. Maybe he wants or Khalifa may be a lady. Huh? So anyway, he or she wants.
So he should just go onto my Facebook page and then send me a private message. I would exchange contacts. I love to mentor young people, just as myself. I wouldn't deny him or her of that.
All right. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming into our studio. Dr. All right. All right. So this is still the AM show. We'll take a quick break here. When we come, the lovely Bennett Abubedu Lanza will be on your screens with an interesting conversation. Do stay with us here. We'll be right back.
Family planning is a very delicate issue, and many people shy away from having a conversation about that topic. But research has shown that adolescents as young as 10 and 11 are taking that decision boldly by walking to the health facility to make a choice. Come with me and let's explore this topic. Contraceptives are the name given to medicines and other devices to prevent unwanted pregnancy. Contraceptives may also be referred to as birth control. Hormonal contraceptive consists of one or more synthetic female sex hormones. In times past, you expect couples who are planning their families to enroll on their choice of contraceptives. Condoms, though another popular birth control method, is often used to preach against sexually transmitted diseases. Condoms are thin pouches that keep sperm from getting into the vagina. There are male and female condoms. Condoms do not protect against infections spread from sores on the skin not covered by a condom, such as the base of the penis or scrotum. Couples having sex must always use condoms to protect against STDs, even when using another birth control methods. Abstinence, not having sex, is the only method that always prevents pregnancy and STDs.
Family planning is deciding on when to have your children and then the interval you want to have your children. But when it comes to adolescents taking family planning, like you said, they are sexually active. They are not married. They have partners and they are sexually active. So they also want to prevent pregnancy. So that is why they will go in for family planning.
So if this is what family planning is, what has that got to do with children enrolling on it? But it wasn't the case before. What is the problem?
So I wouldn't say it's too much education, but in the bid to reduce teenage pregnancy, education has gone on. There's been a series of education over the years on prevention of pregnancy. And one of the ways of preventing pregnancy in adolescents is the use of family planning, since most of them are sexually active.
Public health nurse Dr. Sahaji explains further the different types of family planning.
There were long acting and near a one who are a better answer the effect no died down. There were short acting. Into short acting, a bit is a pills na ye fano and oba no be fan de bia. There were injectables and as a pania ye wo. Ube one either 3 months now 1 month. And a long acting is there were implants eno no ade a it's a plastic rod or ban or the beshe ahase na wo ho for 3 years and I say for 5 years and I wa IUD near the sha wudi animu no eno so it me last 10 years na e wo ho and I wa condoms and so a form of family planning and so e wo ho and I wa female and male sterilization and also wo ho na e kan say e amafo bebre ka say yakochichire na we dey na no and female sterilization.
This community, for instance, where you work, how often do you see adolescents at what age coming asking questions or wanting to get on family
planning? So as a municipality, we do get adolescents, 11 years, 12 years, 13 years, asking questions on family planning. Sorry, and then some of them on the coming in for family or asking questions on family planning. As a health directorate, we go in for school health services. Okay. So we speak to the adolescents on reproductive health issues, and one of the topics are on family planning. So you get adolescents asking questions on family planning as early as 10 years, 11 years, and even coming in for the services.
I caught up with some teens between the ages of 13 and 19 for a chat on this subject.
I know it's used to prevent the sperms from growing in a woman, and I also learned it helps in preventing of pregnancy, unwanted pregnancies.
Please, they said contraceptive is good for those who have sex, but as a child, there is no need for you to use a contraceptive because it's not good for you.
Have you heard of contraceptive before?
Yes, I've heard of contraceptive before.
Okay, have you used some before?
No, placed by a friend. According to her, it did not go well with her. After they put her on the plan, she was hoping that it would go on well, but unfortunately, it did not go on well. That's as she was expecting, because she was bleeding at the same time. By the time she got to know that it wasn't working, by then she was already pregnant.
Let's meet 3 girls with peculiar stories to tell. This is Amma, not her real name. She is 17 and a JHS graduate. She has already had her shot with contraceptives. She has very little knowledge about family planning in general. She is actually unaware that the method is intended to prevent pregnancy. Amma is on implant, which is hormonal. It is a small rod placed under the skin in the upper arm by a healthcare provider to prevent pregnancy 99% of the time. The implant, which lasts for 3 years, releases the hormone progestin to stop the ovaries from releasing eggs, and it thickens cervical mucus, so it is difficult for sperm to enter the uterus. She tells me her aunt took the decision to put her on family planning without any explanation.
Minimo, I'm de share me and I'm de share and I'm de share.
Okay. Now, when I'm my dream said one I'll buy and no be no buy.
Me auntie de me buy.
What do you want let's see? Oh, I can't. Okay. Until no buy but show me here for by the
amount.
Now, once we decide.
A man can't try me.
Oh, boyfriend. Oh, boyfriend. So you say one now we are the same age.
On me at the same age.
Until what auntie me? What no boyfriend?
Mistake me call no one. And I force him say, my name have sex. And I'm in have a if it's who I am.
I sought to test if Amma would opt for family planning when she gets to her adult life. Annabelle, not her real name, is 19 years. She completed senior high school in 2021. She wants to be a fire officer in future. She decided on her own to take the injectable to prevent pregnancy because she had a boyfriend.
Me here for 3 months, but me no be a anything to me chai.
Yeah. Me a penny and the other for 3 months. And I'm in your binety, but Nipano 1 year obi a meet me in at 19. I forget.
She tells me she did not even think about STIs when she took the family planning method.
The Mojana and Shadam by because of a drone tea. Now, and bad cement mansion, a back a Caribbean age.
STIs. Pregnancy, what did you think about STIs?
No. Because it's an Indona Bano, it's a failing in your manoma. I think it's a family planning best. Because I don't know for 3 months. I don't never me. Because me person many in pregnancy be a baby fear, a baby and sense and baby. And I think so no baby tamame.
Fusena is not sure of her age, but the healthcare provider says she may be 20 years now. She is from Yegbo in the northern region. She got married quite young. She has a 3-year-old daughter. Her data in the health record says last year she came in at 19 when her child was 2 years to opt for family planning. She has no formal education. She said she wanted to space her childbearing.
Now we couldn't say me be on an SMB. Now I'm person me shadano. And I may buy and Madame Nia.
What look at some person over shell who sounds
Man Bisano. Now we see, my person me wo and tam come banner so me person when you answer. I don't want to say Obia obe waren and on pia aquala obe woman and Tina
Fusena says now she is a little worried as she is not able to conceive, though she has gone off the family planning. Juliana Jampo is a community health nurse at the Malamata Government Clinic. She says some adolescents as young as 15 sometimes walk in by themselves seeking her assistance to prevent pregnancies. She has attended and taken hundreds of adolescents through this process. She says talking these adolescent girls out of going ahead is not an option.
Daily. Whether so only be man bed that you have to take it every day. And then we have the implant, that is 3 years, and then we have Judicial, which is 5 years, and then the condom. Until I'm by a church and much nipa prefer so yen family planning there yen to suma the person's choice. Until no person yen, then we do it for the person. And I want thing so I can say family planning method you can change it anytime. Until be a name about me so came 1 month. Obe 1 month. I feel there. Dream also 1 month in the grass is too short. So I want the 3 months. So I want the long term. Until we buy a very amount, and you can change it at any time. Normally, so almost an bar. It be a madam Beccasu. It be a maybe or school. Beso Benis and school no create Accra until be a long term a man. And there be a mother nan a bit too soon, and a nipan and be banana a bit too soon method on a man. Don't say name you my one. And to set it no, and then a my one win. Or more yen may be an same faster. But in nipan be a 1 year, not just so be who say. Into 1 year ready so be who say, no beans and no quacquay abortion in there, and call bonnet who buy a few sank.
So which is better? That these young adolescents are unaware of contraceptives and are taking such decisions to primarily prevent pregnancies or to stay away and end up with pregnancies.
The best thing is anka, don't worry the anka, you have to abstain from sex. But since a nipan person at the end of the day, you can't prevent the person. And there can be being to say too much of everything is bad. We check too much. At least me sure say the first to be better. But nipa no ye kakra for some time and people say so we jai. And now you can change the method. If you have been on a method for so long, you can switch to another method. Normally, say be number you cancel one. Say family planning now by yen. It doesn't give you lances. You bet me your STI. It's only for pregnancy. It's not so you can search your phone. And Sunday, say why you intend so family planning and then I'll cook with you whole call we all cook. Bet me your STI near the ways for only solely for pregnancy and nothing else.
Age now, how young? The youngest you have ever had here?
Youngest is 15 years. 15. On buyer. Oh, school or JSS. Oh, say family planning. The umbana be so be or see at see or radio so near there. Unso mobile with the contraceptives. You want with the TV so near radio near there. And your mother. Now times they be why you school so no so near Mokasa. So they have to abstain, but you want to me abstain there. Then you have to come and do family planning. When you go to school health and so you know Mokasa.
And those were highlights of a documentary put together by Martha Krenzel Aqua. The full thing will air later. She'll join us and share all those details. But it's a very interesting piece about teens on contraceptives. Martha Krenzel Aqua has joined me. Hello, Martha. It's been a while. It's good to see you on television. You should have seen the reaction here when we saw you do that piece to camera. But I'm more interested in what prompted this story. Why did you decide to work on this?
Thank you very much, Dennis, and good morning. Good to see you. I see you always on TV, so it's good to see you again.
Right.
This conversation started from an informal conversation I had with a friend who was telling me about how a woman has taken her own daughter to the clinic to put her on family planning because the girl cannot abstain from sex. And so the woman was looking at her investments in her daughter and decided, then let me put her on something that is long-term, so I'll leave her to continue with whatever she was doing. And so I was surprised. So after that, I decided to speak to one of the foremost people I spoke to was Dr. Chianu, Dr. Marian Amponsa Chianu, and she confirmed that really it is happening and mentioned the age. So this girl, the first one that prompted it was 16. And then she mentioned age younger than that. And so I was surprised. If you have younger people doing that, then let me go further and check some of the health facilities and see if it is widespread or it's just a one-off case. And unfortunately, it's widespread.
Much later, I would share a story with you about how I also got to know about how young people are now getting onto contraceptives or using some form of family planning and why I was disturbed about it. And I'm really glad that you've done this story. But Martha, just on the point where we came to you, the nurse you were talking to was talking about children walking in 15. And I'm thinking to myself, is that permitted? Can a 15-year-old who is still under the care of a guardian or a parent who is legally considered a minor take such a decision on their own? Are there laws that prevent health practitioners from administering these contraceptives to these people or these young girls without consent from their parents? Just tell us more on that, if you covered that legal angle in the story, in the documentary,
so I didn't go into I didn't go into detail, and so I hope that we have a healthcare person on the line who will explain that to us. But when I did the interview with one of the nurses, not Juliana Jampo, that's the one you're referring to, she says 15 is the youngest she had attended to. The public health nurse said 10, 11, and 12. They come in, and I said, but these are children. And she said, yes, once they can take decisions to have sex, they can take decisions on how they want to protect themselves. So I asked, when they walk in and they don't come with a parent or a guardian, don't you turn them away? If you turn them away, they will still continue to do it. We have the forms, we speak to them, we counsel them, we do the ABC counseling, and then we ask them where they heard from. And most of the time, the worrying trend for her is that they already know what they want. And so they come in and they just want to be on contraceptives. They tell you, I want the injectable, I want the pill, I want this. They don't even opt for the pill. They don't like the pill because it's too much to take that every day. They cannot do that. They don't like condoms as well. So they prefer to be on the injectable or the implant, the one that is put in the arm that releases hormones into your system. So it sounded more like they don't really go into the legal part of it. That once a child is actively having sex and comes in, the best thing is to do it for. So one of the healthcare providers said, which one do you prefer? That I don't do it for her. She goes ahead and has sex, gets pregnant, attempts to abort and dies. Is that what you want me to do? So once they come in, as Yanga said, they are adolescents. So she actually defined that the World Health Organization definition of adolescents starts from, I think, 11 to 19. So you have the early adolescents and then you have the late adolescents. And so they are not even teens, don't call them, they are adolescents. They can make some of these decisions on their own.
Right, Martha, thankfully, I have Caesar Kaba Koboziga. He is lead programs coordinator at the Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, PPAG. Good morning to you. I'm sure there are a lot of parents who are wondering, why should my child walk into a health facility, get a family planning without my consent when they live under my roof and legally they're still considered minors? Do you have the law on your side in this case as a health official to say, I still have to administer it anyway if the child wants it?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I must say a very good thank you to join me for bringing these very important conversations up in our national discourse. I feel like you that beyond the normal hardcore politics, these are things that have to be discussed. But as we go into these conversations, we usually want to caution that in as much as we have our own personal biases and values, it's important to lay bare the facts and the laws that we work in, because fortunately we are in a democratic country. And what are the facts here? The facts are that in Ghana, sex is permissible for anybody who attains 16 years or more. That the law allows any young person above 16 or 16 or above to have sexual intercourse. But let me also be quick to add that there's also a law that does not allow them to get married before 18. So there's a gap of about 2 years. And so just to think of it, even before we go further, is to say that if there's a law that allows people to have sex when they are 16 but not get married, the only thing they can do to not get pregnant that will push them into marriage would have been to use contraception, even though it is not in the law that they should go and use the contraception. By thinking, I think that should be the inspiration behind it. But let me also say that, like you were saying, the adolescent health policy of Ghana and even international best practices forbids any nurse from turning away an adolescent who comes to access contraception. And so the nurses in the facilities that are providing the services are actually working with a law that mandates them to do so. So it is not as if they are using their discretion. They are supposed to do what they are doing. But let me go further to say that beyond the contraception conversation, we must remember that there are hundreds of thousands of adolescent girls who get pregnant every year. And let me quickly mention that between 2016 and 2020, and I think Joy News was fortunately the one that broke this news publicly to our nation again, that about 55,000 adolescent girls got pregnant in that period, 55,000. And that 55,000 is not just the girls, it's another dependent they are bringing. So if you want to develop our nation, it is clear that these numbers are not allowed. But let me add even more frustration for us in the field that out of this, about 13,000 girls were between the ages of 10 and 14 years.
Can you say that again? 13,000 girls?
Yes, 13,000 adolescent girls were between the ages of 10 and 14 years. And this is Ghana Health Service data, not I. And the other 542,000 were between 15 and 19 years. There's nobody who is 20 years in this time. So for me, in this field, that I see these statistics, the 10 to 14 years are clearly defilement cases. And even 15 years, it is clear that if someone has sex below 15 years or 15 years and below, the person has been defiled. And so in a nation that we care about the adolescents, our priority should have been to put in systems that will prevent the defilement, that will stop them from getting abused. Because if we interact with these girls, the basic reason why they have sex is not for pleasure. For most of them, it's for survival, for basic needs like sanitary pads, like indomie, like accommodation, very basic needs that a working state or nation should have been providing for them. So for me, if we want to protect the adolescent girls, then we have made it individual. So they have to take their own defense mechanisms and protective mechanisms. So if we see these adolescent girls picking up contraception, I in the field would be jubilating, not because of my moral lens, but because of the facts on the ground that if these are the facts, and the adolescents have taken their own protection into their own hands after getting empowerment, then we should be jubilating as a nation. It's a good sign. Because other than that, what we'll be seeing will be school dropouts, will be unsafe abortions and deaths, will be a lot of teenage pregnancies like we saw in the years that I just mentioned. So instead of focusing on they exercising their right to access contraception to protect themselves, we should be happy and be thinking of how to put these mechanisms in place to protect them from getting into the sexual acts in the first place.
I'll come back to you, Caesar, because in this story put together by Martha Krenzel Aqua, we see young girls who are visiting health facilities to get onto contraceptives. But there's the other hand where some girls do not do it the right way. I'll come for us to explore that angle. But let me now bring Joyce Lanyo, Programs Manager, International Child Development Program. It's great to have you here, Mom. So, I mean, I'm just thinking to myself, Mr. Kaba there has spoken about a moral and a legal lens. Okay, so morally, there are many Ghanaians who may feel that this is inappropriate. You can have kids getting onto contraceptives, but the law permits it, as he's told us, and they are not allowed to turn girls away when they come to access contraceptives. But then again, the other hand is you're not expecting a child between 10 years and 14 to be having sex in the first place. What is your thinking around that? Should they be turning such girls away? Because if they're having sex at that age, it means that they're being defiled. They're not permitted by law to be doing so. So, I mean, it's a thorny issue, but what is your perspective and understanding to this?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. It's rather sad that my brother from PPAG should say that we should be jubilating if children are able to walk into these service centers to access contraceptives. Please, I beg to differ, because we are talking about children. Children, indeed, if these children are to be allowed to access contraceptives to prevent pregnancy, what about the sexually transmitted infections that are also on the way? What about the HIV, which is the elephant in the house? What are we talking about it? I find it very, very unfortunate that our brother from the PPAG should talk about this. Now, more contraceptives play a very key role. There are negative impacts on its usage. Even we, the adults, we have challenges when we use it. And to the extent for children to go to these centers and choose what they want. They want injectables, they want what this or that, I beg to differ. When we say children or a child...
Sorry to interject, but what we know and what we've heard from the PPAG is that when these kids come, they're not just given what they say they want. They are taken through counseling, told what the pros and cons are, and they make a decision. The assumption is once the child is having sex, and he has said the law allows 15 years and above to have sex, 18 marriage. So if a 15-year-old, for example, walks into a health facility and says, give me a contraceptive, it is within their rights so far as the law allows them to have sex. The problem is those who fall below that category, who are, in this case, as we're told, 10 to 14 years. And so I'd just like us to stay within what they are legally required and allowed to do compared to how parents also feel about this, because sometimes an 18-year-old is even under the care of a parent, and the parent will want to know what that child is doing and all that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Granted, what you have just said. Children are always children. These contraceptives that we are opening up to them have emotional, psychological effects according to the field research that is read. So children cannot just walk in and access contraceptives, notwithstanding their ages 10 to 14 or 16 to 18. That is the standard where we would use to describe a child. What is it that the child needs? That sex is so important to his life rather than his education, and would want to go and access contraception.
And sorry, I'm sorry to interject again, but we also know that many of these girls, like Mr. Kaba said, do not go for sex because of pleasure. Some of them have to meet certain needs. In some cases, we know that girls sleep with men because they want money to buy some, items, things that they will need to survive on. So isn't it just bigger than making it look like these girls may just be promiscuous, seeing that some of them actually do this out of necessity and not just because they want to have pleasure?
Yes, I appreciate all these arguments. But I'm saying that a child from the age of 10 to 14, due to lack of pad, consumable, pad, or indomie, or what? I don't know what it is that should open the floodgates for children as young as 10 to 14 to be able to walk into a center and then access some of these services, whether they are below the age of 14 and they are 16 and above. It's something we should take a critical look, or there should be policy and regulation concerning these things. Because look, for me, when I was coming and I was a young mother giving birth, at the time when I started this contraceptive, the issue about bleeding setting, the issue about palpitation came in, the issue about emotional stress, which I was venting on my younger, because I didn't even know what I was doing, and all was attributed to this contraceptive. So these children at these ages that are accessing these things, have we considered the psychological and emotional stresses that they will be going through? What do they know that they can choose and pick what they want? Where are the parents? Who sent them there? Is it because of the underlying issue of poverty? We should now introduce our children to contraceptives. Where is the abstinence that that was preached to us some time ago when we were coming. Please, I beg to differ on what is being said concerning children's access. If you talk about even adolescents will have to go through some form of knowledge and capacity building, awareness creating, to be able to appreciate issues around contraceptives.
And that's why they're given counseling, right? In these health facilities, they are taken through counseling. But, ma'am, this is between the devil and the deep blue sea, isn't it? So for the health practitioner, do I deny this child the contraceptive and they get pregnant and they attempt an abortion and lose their lives? Unfortunately, these are two equally unpleasant choices, but it appears for the health practitioner, one is better than the other, right? So how would you have them handle the situation? Children are exposed to so much on social media. Some of them, those who are being defiled, unfortunately are exposed to predators and unfortunately men who should know the right thing. They're exposed to death through abortions. And then they come and say, give me a contraceptive. How do you want them to go about this? It appears that giving them the contraceptive is the better option.
If you ask my view, I will tell you that children from the ages of 10 to maybe 18 should not use sex as their preoccupation. Rather, education should be their preoccupation. Because the sex will come after all and will continue to death. So why would you rush into contraception when you have your book that you need to concentrate on? That will give you the future that you need, the comfort, the decision to choose between what you want. But rather, decide on accessing something that doesn't reflect your age and whatever you are seeking to achieve in the future.
So you're largely making a very moral argument here, and I appreciate it. And I'm sure that many parents will be on your side. They will agree with you, and hopefully much later we can open the phone lines to get interactive with our audience who may have concerns about this. But please hold on for me. Let me go back to Mr. Kaba. So I was talking about other girls who are accessing other forms of contraceptives. Now let me tell you a story. I walked into a pharmacy, and I hope Martha is also on, because this is the story I was referencing earlier, Martha. I walked into a pharmacy. I was going to pick up a drug for my son, and a young girl walks in and signals the attendant and points to a certain form of emergency contraceptive, which is a pill. And without any further interaction, the attendant just gives her the medication. And I was very curious. So I asked her, does this young girl know that this emergency contraceptive should be taken in a certain way? Does she know that she can't just walk into any pharmacy and take it as and when she feels like? Is she aware of the complications? And the attendant just chuckled and said, oh, these girls, don't mind them, that's what they do. And I said, no, that's not the point. Do you give her an education? Does she know that she can't take this every other day because it's an emergency contraceptive? Mr. Kaba, this is troubling.
So,
yeah, Martha, do you want to come in first and I'll bring in...
Yes, yes, it's captured in the full documentary.
Right.
Where I have an attendant, like you mentioned, sharing with me the girls who come in and the contraceptives, the emergency contraceptives they buy when they come in. And then sometimes, most of the time, they come in already pregnant. So they ask her, and she's a woman, she's a mother. So they ask her to help them get rid of the pregnancy. Then she tells them she doesn't do abortion there. But you can see they've gathered a lot of confidence to even talk to her about it. So in her voice, they'll say, Madam Pacho, why? Just help me. And then she tells them she cannot help. Then they will buy the emergency contraceptives you're mentioning. And then sometimes you mentioned 2 drugs that they often buy and combine to get rid of the pregnancy anyway. So one is not registered in Ghana. And I'm told it comes through the Nigerian border, something, and they are able to get it. and then they combine and they do, or some go and do herbal concoctions and all others. So yes, it is not strange. They are buying it and they are using it.
But they don't get an education for most of these pharmacies. Because
so this attendant actually told me sometimes she sits them down because she's worried.
Yeah.
And then she will talk to them. And sometimes you can see by the time she is done, they've regretted. But she feels they go elsewhere and will go and buy from there because they won't buy from her. And so when Joyce was talking about them being too young, I understand. But they are already getting pregnant and they are buying it. Now, when you talk about the part, those who sometimes out of necessity sleep with other men, she mentioned one. The woman, the drugstore attendant told me, there are some of them who come in and it's like they have no choice because the man who may be sleeping with her is the one taking care of her to go to school, buying her needs and doing everything for her. So when she gets talking to them and they talk about it, then her hands are tied.
Yeah.
Like sometimes she uses the "you are beautiful," "God loves you," "maintain your purity," all those things. And by the time she is done, she knows she's done a good job, and she'll see the girl again.
Yeah, because the girl must survive. She must eat, and that's the only option she sees. Let me bring Mr. Koboziga in here. As PPAG, what are your concerns about that as well, especially on the emergency contraceptives? Because even many adult women don't know that you just can't go and pop an emergency contraceptive and take it as and when you want. There's very little education on that because the adverts are all over the place, on radio, on television, on the billboards. You can take this, you can plan your life, but they do not even come with caution on how you should take them or how many times even in a year you can take an emergency contraceptive. So what is PPAG doing about that?
Thank you very much. So, first of all, I just have to get back a bit. And I'm trying to go back a bit because, and I like your line of questioning. As parents listening to us, they may probably be excited about the fact that abstinence, everybody should abstain and all of that. And that is what we do here in our organization. The first line of defense for every young person, every individual, is abstinence. And that is what every organization and every individual is supposed to be preaching to the adolescents and the young people. But it is not working. You see, and I want to cite something. So people say, oh, young people should not be thinking about sex, they should be in school. I just cited an example where adolescent girls are having sex with adults, not their age mates. Adults, sometimes their relatives, so that they can take care of them, including giving them transportation to school or sanitary pads so that they can remain in school or to buy books. So it goes beyond sentiments and opinion. I wish it was enough, but it is not. We preach in the church, we preach in the mosque, parents are saying it at home, but the adolescent girls are getting pregnant. And they are not getting pregnant out of anything but sex. And if we want them to stay in school, let me just take another worrying statistic, that about 30% of school dropouts in Ghana are due to teenage pregnancy. We are not talking about abortion. We are not talking about the unreported cases or people who never go to school. We still have communities and societies giving girls of 12 years out for marriage. There are other things that border on our national moral fiber rather than, and let me say it again, it is not to say that we should jubilate for children taking up contraception. It's not a generic attitude. What I am saying is that if people are informed, and let me state again that here a child is anybody below 18 years. That is our law. But it is also our law that anybody who is 16 years can have sex. They are still children in our law. So children per our law in a certain age can have sex. And it is not about emotion. It is about what the law says, that if you are 16, you can have sex. So if people are allowed to have sex, the question you ask, madam, is very important. How then do we prevent them from getting pregnant? Because they have the law backing them to have sex. And that is where I am saying that if I am a development practitioner, knowing the reasons why people have sex, including rape, including defilement of over 13,000 cases recorded, where we haven't seen the state taking people to court and jailing them, I should be empowering girls to take the protection of themselves into their own hands if they start having sex. And that includes them knowing at 16 that once the law allows you to have sex, even though discouraged and we encourage you to practice abstinence, you should know that if you are coerced or if, like, our national institutions are not very resourceful to provide social protection, if you are coerced and led to have sexual intercourse, you should know that there's another line of defense, which is that you have access to contraception. And let me add that the trend of emergency pills will even be more worrying if Joy News decides to investigate it. And I'll be happy to get another specific documentary on that, because that is the most dangerous aspect of contraception. It is an emergency pill, and like an emergency pill, you don't take an ambulance to the market to buy a foodstuff. The ambulance is for the sick. The ambulance is for people who are in emergency situations. It's like that for sexual intercourse and contraception. If people take emergency pills consistently like that, which is of several doses of the regular contraception, it has further implications than just the regular pill, which is happening. People are taking it on weekly, daily basis, young people, and that should be our concern, because regarding the effects of normal contraception on people's bodies, it's like drugs. Para has side effects on people. Some people don't take it. Right. Well, if you take any medication, it is not everybody who can take it and not have complications. So it is for us to have a national conversation and see the way forward. As for the sentiment, all of us can do that. I may be very sentimental about my young people, which is disturbing to anybody's ears, that a young person of 16 years is accessing contraception, and that contraception, let me add, that includes condoms. So if we are interested in their lives and including the other side effects of STI, then we should be asking ourselves, what do we do for these people to know that a contraception in the normal sense of an injection does not prevent you from HIV?
All right.
What do we put in place to prevent that?
Definitely.
Now, at this point, if we talk to anybody, all of us want in the space and in the nation is to protect adolescent girls.
Right.
Help us do that with solutions. But for blaming others and blaming the young people, until you interact with them, you will not know their plight.
Mr. Koboziga, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We definitely need to continue this conversation. He is a lead programs coordinator with the Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, the PPAG. Earlier, you heard Joyce Lanyo. If you're still on the line, ma'am, just 1 minute for you to wrap up your thoughts. We definitely need to extend this conversation, and we hope to do so sometime soon. But quickly, in a minute, can you wrap up your thoughts for me?
And I want to correct that I am the country director for International Child Development Program.
Right, thanks.
My concluding remark is to continue to say that at this adolescent age or childhood stage, is sex and how do you call it? Contraception is your preoccupation rather than considering your books and taking your education as a serious component of your life to break this cycle of poverty. Then in the next generation, after doing this contraception for how many years we don't know, very soon we will have challenges, because these contraceptives, they have issues to the extent that there is the issue of not being able to give birth.
Right.
Once you are ready. So I, as an educationist and a child rights advocate, will still talk about abstinence, because at that age, that should not be your preoccupation.
Thank you so much. Joyce Lanyo is Country Director, International Child Development Program. Martha Krenzel-Aqua, producer of that documentary. Thank you so much, Martha, for doing this. You have the final word. So when are we seeing the full documentary? How can we access it? How can we watch it?
She will play tomorrow on Adom TV at 11:30 in the morning. And then after that, we'll upload it online so you can have access. And just so you know, the emergency contraceptive is the second part of this documentary.
Okay.
So when we get there, we'll talk more about that.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Martha. I am super grateful that you did this. Martha Crensel Aqua is editor with Adum TV, and she brought us that documentary. You can catch the full thing, just for emphasis, at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow on Adum TV. And then it will be uploaded so you can watch it later online. But I would open the phone lines now. What are your thoughts? It's quite an interesting conversation. The numbers to call are on your screen. Please, because we've run out of time, when you call, just go straight to the point. Just tell me what you think about teens on contraceptives. The number will be on your screen, 0302 991. Sorry, the number has escaped me. Can we put up the number on the screen quickly so that 0302211691 is the number. 0302211691 is the number to call. Please call us, share your thoughts with us. Let me know what you think. There's the moral argument and there's the legal argument. And for the health practitioner, there is the challenge of to help that child or let them go, then they commit an abortion. Joseph, good morning. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good morning. I wish the PPAG man would have been on the line. Because you see, this issue about family planning thing is that PPAG that is even supposed to prevent people from getting pregnant. They are rather interested in abortion. So if your family planning is effective, will somebody get unwanted pregnancy?
Now, I don't get you. What do you mean by they are interested in abortions? I don't understand.
Yeah, because they are doing comprehensive abortion. Yes, that is legal. But I'm asking you, if you go to the health sector, if your family planning unit is very active, is good, will someone come with unwanted pregnancy? Now they're talking of wanting to abort it. So this whole thing about family planning and this, you see, I'm praying the day that government of Ghana will pass a law that family planning will be a must. People must do it. Because, let me tell you, people are going through a lot. Some young children are going through a lot. They become pregnant.
You want to take us to some Asian countries where you're told how many children to have by hook or crook. It's people's choice, right?
But you see, don't also forget that some children are prevented from going to school because of this unwanted pregnancy.
All right, Joseph, thank you very much. I'm sure many other people want to share their thoughts. 0302-211-691. Teens on contraception is what we've been discussing this morning. And what do you make of it? There's a moral argument about children abstaining. And then for the health practitioner, there is the knowledge that children are having sex anyway. But then there's also that disturbing element about 10 to 14-year-old having sex, which is defilement because they are not permitted by law to do so, and they accessing contraceptives. Should we be giving it to them at all? Well, Christine, hello, good morning. Let me hear what you have to say.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think that on the issue of discussion, parents have a very big role to play. If you give birth to a child, for instance, that must be a girl child, and then you see the responsibility of the child. Of course, the child is right to go any mile that she wishes to get what will make him, move on in life. So I think part of these issues, parents have to be blamed for it.
But Christine, there are parents who, in the story we heard, who are walking their children into the facility to get them on contraceptives.
So it means that they have failed as a parent. They have failed as a parent because when you have a girl child, as soon as the child starts to menstruate, it is your role to take this girl child through sexual education, sex education.
But does this not include sexual education, Christine? What would you do if, despite all of that, you realize your child is still having sex? There's a possibility of a pregnancy, which may hinder their education.
Bennett, I want to tell you that if we take up our parental role and you keep on educating the child,
telling her the consequences of being pregnant or the consequences of having sex, she will listen to you. Because like we earlier on said, these girls do it not for pleasure, they do it to get their upkeep. And so if you take up the challenge as a parent to provide this girl out with what she needs to keep her up, I'm not sure she'll go in to do that.
Thank you so much, Christine. I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you for joining the program. I'm sure I'll have time to pick a couple more calls, and I'll be excited to do so because I want to hear what you have to say about teens on contraception. And it's not a straightforward thing. It's quite a delicate matter. Emmanuel joins us. Hello, Emmanuel. Let's hear you.
Yes, I want to contribute to this family planning issue.
Please go ahead.
Yes, the issue is more often than not, people who get this unwanted pregnancy, they are very much aware of the consequences before they start. Any girl child who gets pregnant, about 90% of them are aware of this family planning, but they decide to opt for unprotected sex. And any girl who also engages in unprotected sex is very much aware of the possible consequence of getting pregnant. But they opt for the pleasure more than the protection. You understand? So, looking at the various scenarios, we cannot underestimate the relevance of family planning and maybe abortion or something of that sort. Because even if the parents decide not to let the girl child abort, by the time you realize they have gone their own way to do the unexpected, and we all know the
consequences of that.
The possible consequences.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That's all time will allow us. I appreciate your comments. And like Martha said, when the second part of this documentary is ready, we will have another conversation. And hopefully it will be one that allows for more interaction with you. I am grateful that you joined us on this edition of the AM show. I'm Bernice Abubedu Lansa. Earlier you saw Samuel Kojo Brace bring us that conversation with two parliamentary candidates of the NDC who just won the just ended primaries. Before I go, let me say happy birthday to you. Aseda or say much love, more blessings. Mommy and daddy say they love you and they wish you long life and prosperity. And also from all your friends at church. And let me say thank you to Dwayne GHDOUE_Ghana. You can find them on Instagram for my beautiful dress. Well, that'll be it. Up next is News Desk. Do stay.